Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
At Life's a Beach Realty, we're all about life on the beach. Stunning Panama City Beach and one of the most beautiful properties on the Gulf Coast, Shores of Panama. Radiant, elegant, and spectacular. Steps away from white sugar sand, every room overlooks the turquoise of the Gulf of Mexico. Come in for your tour today. Life's a Beach Realty is your gateway to Shores of Panama, the shores, and a whole lot more.
You're now in the Sports Web, a sports talk show for the hardcore fan. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television live here nightly on Bucks Report. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Only 2 days away from Super Bowl 54 between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. So let's get started, as we always do here on the Sports Web. To start off the show, bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have newest writer, Mr. Nick Citro, and he'll talk about his recent article with Jameis Winston and the comparisons of quarterbacks in the NFL. Really interesting read. Also, get into the Tom Brady comments from Peter King. We'll let you hear those. And a mystery solved on that cryptic tweet that Brady tweeted out last night of the picture. You won't want to miss this. Greg Olsen retires. Would the Bucks be interested? We'll get your thoughts on that. And of course, your phone calls, 813-699-5353. It's 813-699-5353. This is the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Join the 64,000 following we have here on Facebook. Tomorrow, if any Bucks win, any honors like Shaq Barrett being up for Defensive Player of the Year, or Devin White winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, I will do a special show. Also, if John Lynch gets into the Hall of Fame, I don't know what time it will be, but if he gets in, we'll do a special show here on the Sports Web. So stay tuned for that. So we're about to have Nick Citro on here talking about his article. And of course, we'll get your comments as always on the Sports Web. So I'm definitely excited about this matchup coming up on Sunday. I go back and forth. In fact, I'll give you my prediction in case you missed it on the Charles Richardson show a little bit later. So let's see here. We'll go out to the texting line because Nick Citro has not called in yet. So what is Ben saying here? What did you bowl tonight, Peter? Ha. All right, that's our guest. Welcome to the show here, the evolution of Sports Talk Television, our newest writer from Bucks Report, Mr. Nick Citro. Welcome to the Sports Web here on Friday night. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's not today, it's tonight, and I'm just trying to rush at this point because Super Bowl 54 is only 2 days away. After this, it'll be 1 day away. But first and foremost, welcome to Bucks Report. Not only being one of the newest writers and columnists, but also social media director of our Twitter account. So a good get. I've seen your stuff. Tell everybody about yourself here on Bucs Report, please.
Sure. So I'm mostly on Twitter. You can find me at Nick Citro. That's Sitro. I do a lot of stats comparisons. I've been doing Lavonte David recently because I think he's just criminally underrated. I've been comparing him against other linebackers. And if you just look through my timeline, you can see that he's putting up Hall of Fame numbers, but nobody outside of Tampa really knows who he is. So.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. We have Johnny Dean, the professor. He's a numbers guy. He kind of crunches numbers together, and we use Pro Football Focus, but you're exactly right. Lavonte David is criminally underused and absolutely underrated in the NFL these days. And I tell you right now, if he keeps it up, you may have a Hall of Famer there, and it's sad because he hasn't been voted to those Pro Bowlers, but you look at his statistics consistency-wise, he's just a monster. He really is. So let's talk about this article that you put out last night, Jameis Winston. Go ahead and tell everybody about it, and how did you come to the conclusion? Because if I'm not correct, your comparison was Matt Stafford and Ben Roethlisberger. How did you come to that?
Yeah, so I compared him against Brett Favre, Jay Cutler, Ben Roethlisberger, and Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
And I kind of came to that conclusion because they're also modern era gunslinger quarterbacks. And I really kind of wanted to look at how they performed on their respective teams, what their records were, advanced stats, and kind of how that compared to Jameis Winston. But as the gunslinger quarterback, we all know they have a strong arm, throw the deep ball. We see it a lot with Ben Roethlisberger extending plays in the pocket and then forcing tight passes into windows. And that can either get intercepted, obviously, or you can see really great plays like the one to Perriman in the back of the end zone against the Texans.
Yes.
So
amazing throw.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's amazing throw. You're exactly right. He makes some throws that just, leave your head spinning sometimes. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think we're all biased on Jameis Winston. It's pretty hard not to have an opinion, but I sort of leaned on the anti-Jameis crowd to start, and I really wanted to look at these stats to have a more informed opinion. And by the end of it, I actually kind of moved to pro-Jameis, and I'll tell you why. So I compared them the first 5 years of their career, all the quarterbacks that I mentioned, and I looked at a specific stat called adjusted net yards per pass attempt.
Okay.
And really all it is it's quarterback efficiency. So you get rewarded for touchdowns and yards, and you get punished for interceptions and sacks. And Jameis Winston was actually the highest on that list. So ahead of Ben Roethlisberger, ahead of Matthew Stafford. And I thought that was really telling because Ben Roethlisberger was on a team that won 2 Super Bowls during that time. And Jameis Winston actually was more efficient than he was. The second point is interception percentage. So a lot of us know that Jameis Winston has a ton of passing attempts. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it's just ridiculous how often he's forcing the ball. And his interception percentage is 4.8% in 2019. And that was actually an outlier compared to the rest of his career. So his median's actually 3.2%. And you could make the argument that it's trending upwards, but I like to see it as kind of an outlier statistic. I don't think he had a year where it was above 21 interceptions. So really the 30 interceptions is not normal to how he's been playing, in my opinion.
No, you're exactly right. Coming into the year before this year, 14 and a half interceptions he averaged. He was averaging 41 throws a game, and this year 626 times he was asked to throw the football. So, and what?
Yeah, and
go ahead.
I think the running game has just been lacking every year. I think Doug Martin was the only good year that Jameis Winston had when the Buccaneers were running the ball. But if you also look at their quarterback records, so Jameis Winston had the worst record out of any of the quarterbacks. Ben Roethlisberger was 51-20 in his first 5 years, and he was tied for the most in interception percentage with 3.6% with Jay Cutler. So what that tells me is Jameis Winston had a lower interception percentage and a worse record. The team around him it's not been good.
Yeah, I mean, and that's always been my point. We're on with newest writer here, Nick Citro, also social media director of Bucs Report Live here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. You're exactly right. That's been my point of contention. No running game, offensive line not very good, and in his starting time with the Bucs, the defense has given up a total of 28 points or 29 points in that time period. And I bet that if you go back to the statistics of those quarterbacks you're comparing them to, they most likely had a better defense and also a better running game, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I didn't look too much at defense in this article, but I mean, we all know the Pittsburgh Steelers defenses of the mid-2000s with Troy Polamalu. I mean, they were just dominant, and the Bucs, we haven't seen that for 14, 15 years now at this point.
Yeah, and you talk about Doug Martin. That was his first year, his rookie year. So you just kind of wonder, and it was still a top 10 offense, and then basically Cutter changed the offense around, which is what Ben Cornett has kind of mentioned in the chat here from our web heads. It's be more of a pass-heavy type of offense with Cutter and also Arians. With Arians' offenses, the wide receivers run a lot of option routes, so that's why there was a lot of miscommunication. And, you look at some of the tape, a lot of those interceptions weren't on Jameis Winston. So where do you stand? Because reading the article, it seems to favor Jameis Winston, but what's your opinion? Do you think he should be the starting quarterback in 2020 for the Bucs? Do you think the Bucs are going to bring him back? What would you do in this situation?
That's $1 million question, isn't it?
It is.
Before I wrote the article, I was anti-Jameis, and I think I've sort of leaned more pro-Jameis. You look at the rumors about Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady, and I honestly don't really see how that's a better option than Jameis Winston at this point. Phillip Rivers he's a tower in the pocket. He really isn't that mobile. Jameis Winston, he runs for his life back there sometimes. I think in his career, he's been sacked in 6.2% of his dropbacks, and that was the second highest in the quarterbacks that I compared. Tom Brady, I don't think he really fits in the offense either. He's really not a deep thrower. His arms declined. But I wouldn't be opposed to drafting a quarterback in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, just as kind of an insurance policy. But as I stand right now, I'd want him back in 2020.
Do you think he comes back in 2020, in your opinion? Do you think the Bucs will pay it? Because there's a recent report out there that he would demand, or his agents would demand $30 million, and that he would be upset along with his agents if they offered him a franchise tag. In your opinion, do you think the Bucs will pay him that much? Do you think it's just negotiation at this point, or do you think the Bucs are ready to move on?
It's pretty steep. Quarterback money in 2020 is really getting up there. I'm not sure if Bruce Arians is comfortable paying Jameis Winston that much. Mm-hmm. And if they let him test the free agent market, then it's really anyone's ball game at that point. But I don't see them signing him to a long-term extension. I see the franchise tag, and then it's really kind of the ball's in his court if he wants to sit that out or play under the franchise tag.
Absolutely. And again, we're on with Nick Citro, one of the newest writers here on Bucs Report, social media director also of the Twitter account, which is going to help us out because, we're kind of centered on Facebook with our 64,000 following. So, getting a helping hand like yourself here, a really smart guy, analytical guy here with Bucs Report is definitely going to help out that Twitter following. Really appreciate you coming on the Sports Web tonight. So you talked about quarterbacks that you really didn't think would fit, like a Rivers and a Brady. Who's a quarterback out there that you would think would fit this system? Is it a Teddy Bridgewater? Is it Andy Dalton? Are you part of the Andy Dalton crowd? I can't get over this. There are actually fans out there that want Andy Dalton. Are you one of them?
No, I don't want Andy Dalton. I think he's over the hill at this point. He's kind of a Phillip Rivers. He's not that mobile in the pocket, and I think you need a quarterback that can be evasive in the pocket, or it's just not going to work, especially with the routes that Bruce Arians likes to run. You watch some of the film, and some of these routes take 4, 5, 6 seconds to develop. So if you don't have a quarterback that can buy some time, I just don't see how it can work.
Have you been keeping up on the draft? Because you talked about drafting a quarterback in the second or third round. Are you buying Jacob Eason? Have you taken a look at him? There's a report out there that possibly Tua could drop because of the injury, red flags. So could you see something like that with the Bucs?
I'm not a huge fan of drafting a quarterback in the first round. I think there's just way too many needs on this team.
Correct.
I'd like to see them go offensive line, defensive line. In the third round, you could get Eason. I've looked at his tape, and he has some good throws. He makes some bad decisions, but I wouldn't be opposed to Bruce Arians kind of molding him in Tampa Bay.
Do you think Arians wants to mold a young quarterback in Tampa Bay, or do you think he's in? Because to me, I look at it, Nick, and I say, I see a win now situation, and this is why I'm pro Winston coming back, because you want to keep that continuity for a second year in the offense. You listen to Carson Palmer talk about it. He believes that Winston will have a better year, and I think you're exactly right. This was an anomaly. Leo Ward from the 30 interceptions. I don't think this is going to be a constant thing. In fact, I think the offense will get better with Winston, and I think it will be tougher. If you do even get a veteran quarterback, you're going to have that learning curve. And what do we know? You look back at the past here, Nick, with quarterbacks that have been in this system, an Andrew Luck, a Peyton Manning, even a Ben Roethlisberger, they've thrown a lot of interceptions. Even Carson Palmer, like I said, Carson Palmer in his first year threw a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of bringing another vet in, especially the ones that are on the QB market right now. I don't think they have the ceiling that Jameis Winston has.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of bringing a rookie in, I don't think Bruce Arians wants to wait 4 or 5 years for a rookie to develop. I believe he's 68, maybe 69 years old. I don't know how much longer he has left coaching in this league. So I really think their best chance is to go with Jameis Winston in 2020 and kind of see where it goes from there.
What do you think about this defense? A lot of people getting on this bandwagon thinking this defense, they played well the second half of the year. Do you think they can continue that this year with the emergence of Shaq Barrett, possibly re-signing JPP? I mean, they got some decisions they have to make in free agency, but Shaq Barrett definitely has to be the guy you sign first, right?
Yeah, I would agree. Shaq Barrett, he pretty much came out of nowhere this year. I don't think anyone kind of saw 19.5 sacks. I don't think many people really saw double-digit sacks when he came over from Denver, but I think it really comes down to the money. If you want to keep JPP, you want to keep Shaq Barrett, you want to keep Ndamukong Suh, I think $80 to $90 million that we have in cap space is going to go pretty fast when you include Jameis Winston, possibly an extension to Chris Godwin. But I think really the key to that defense is keeping the defensive line together. You really want to have continue what we did in 2019 by bringing everyone back.
Yeah, and that's my thing too, because if you bring that defensive line back, then of course your linebackers are going to benefit, like a Devin White, like a Levante David, and of course your secondary, because if you get pressure on the quarterback, Nick, then you can definitely take the pressure off that secondary. We're on with newest writer Nick Citro, also social media director of Bucs Report here on the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. So to me, I think the guy that could be outside looking in would be Ndamukong Suh, because he does cost a lot of money. You could maybe address that position in the draft early. There are a lot of defensive tackles, which is what I was talking with Luke Easterling of Sports Illustrated the other night. A lot of defensive tackles, a lot of edge rushers. I wouldn't be surprised to see Suh and Nassib, and I'll tell you why Nassib could go. Because they drafted Anthony Nelson in the 4th round, and when Nelson was able to play, and that was a big if, because he couldn't stay healthy, I think they kind of see Nelson in that same mold as Nassib, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I think Nassib and Suh, honestly, are probably on their way out. I don't think Nassib really produced to the level of his contract, and I don't think the Bucs are willing to pay Suh another $8-9 million. And there's a ton of defensive line talent in this draft. You have Kinlaw, you have Epineza, just to name a few. So I think you really have a chance to, in the first 3 rounds, kind of restock the defensive line there.
Yeah, we actually talked to Espinoza a couple years ago at the Outback Bowl, and he's a beast. He really is. And Nelson was his running mate. So, if that player's on the board, a lot of people would say, you got to draft offensive line. But if you lose defensive line talent in free agency, then you definitely have to replenish it. And you could always draft an offensive lineman in the second round. You're looking at the draft right now with the linemen, especially the offensive linemen. Who's your guy right now that you say if he's at 14, the Bucks got to grab him, no doubt?
I would say Josh Jones. I think he really kind of his stock is rising out of
Houston.
Out of Houston, correct? Yeah, I think his stock is rising. I think there's been a couple outlets reporting on Josh Jones, and I think he can really kind of replace DeMar Dotson at the right side of the line. I don't know how much longer he has left. And even if he has to sit a year or 8 games, I think kind of learning under Bruce Arians could really be helpful. The only problem is we've been told that Bruce Arians doesn't like to develop offensive linemen.
So let's just say, for instance, they go a different direction at quarterback. Could you see them getting a player like a Jake Conklin from Tennessee? Because to me, that's my guy. That's the guy I go and get if you're going to get an offensive lineman. I'm not bringing back DeMar Dotson. I think Dotson has seen his best days. He's been a great team leader. He's played well. But again, he's a little bit long in the tooth. I go after Jake Conklin, former first-round pick out of Michigan State. He's 26 years old. He may cost you some money, but to me, he solidifies that spot. And if you want to get a little bit older there, you go with a Brian Bulaga from the Green Bay Packers, who's also a free agent. You agree? Anybody else you see out in that free agency as an offensive lineman that the Bucs would be interested in?
I really love Conklin coming out of school, so I actually like that pick a lot. In terms of other guys, I think Andrew Whitworth is a free agent. He's very old. He's 38 years old, but I think he's a potential option just for 1 year. Greg Robinson out of Cleveland, I believe he's 27, is also a free agent. I like what he did last year, but I really like your Conklin call there. I love them coming out of the draft.
Yeah, we're on with Nick Citro, one of our newest writers here on Bucs Report, social media director. Nick, I got to ask you, Super Bowl 54 is only 2 days away. In fact, it's only probably 1 day away after this night ends here. Who do you like in this matchup, Kansas City or the San Francisco 49ers, and why? I got to get your analytical perspective on this. I mean, I'm thinking you're going with defense versus offense. You got to take defense, right?
I'm actually going to go with the Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes he's playing at another level right now. I don't see how anyone can stop him. I mean, it's every week the kid just he throws 50-yard bombs in double coverage, and somehow the receiver comes down with it. I think the Chiefs' defense is also incredibly underrated with Tyrann Mathieu. They have Dee Ford, and I really think they can cause a lot of problems for Jimmy Garoppolo.
And I think you're thinking of Frank Clark, who basically called out Dee Ford on the 49ers, being a former Chief, calling him dumb. So that should be a very interesting situation with Ford getting after Mahomes. One final question, and this is for one of the web heads out there named Johnny Dean. He was asking about Greg Olsen. He's kind of upset with O.J. Howard. Howard really disappointed last year. He wasn't a great blocker, didn't do much of anything very well. Cameron Brate's making a lot of money. Do you think the Bucs could make a run for a Greg Olsen?
They could. I personally wouldn't be a fan of it. I think he declined significantly in Carolina.
Okay.
He really only had his good games against the Bucs, who at the beginning of the year struggled pretty significantly against tight ends. I think O.J. Howard was pretty underrated as a blocker. He wasn't great, but definitely underrated. If you look at week 2 against Carolina, he had some key blocks in the running game that sparked Peyton Barber for a 16-yard run, but definitely a disappointing year in the passing game.
Yeah, definitely disappointing passing year for him, especially with all the opportunities, all the potential, and everything like that. Welcome to Bucs Report, Mr. Nick Citro. You've been on the evolution of sports talk television. Definitely don't be a stranger, all right, my friend?
Thanks for having me.
All right, there you go. So open phone line, good stuff. I like that. The guy uses numbers, stats. He's not just throwing it against the wall and saying, here it is. He's got numbers to back it up. And even he told you he wasn't a big fan of Winston. But when you look inside the numbers and you do your research and you do your homework and you're a football nerd like a lot of people out there, like yours truly, you come to find something different. 813-699-5353. That is 813-699-5353. It's the Sports Web. Wake up. It's Friday night. Come on. Call in and we'll go out to the web heads here, read some comments from you guys. I like the interaction here. Comments are always, well, there you go. We'll have to get back to the web heads. Mr. Johnny Dean, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, buddy.
Okay. What's up, buddy?
What's up with you? You better pep up. It's Friday night.
I can't be pepped up. I've been busy all freaking day. Okay, OJ, the OJ thing and
Yes.
Olsen.
Yes.
I was throwing that shit against the wall, and you took that the wrong way and ran with it. Okay, but I'm going to say this right now: a bad Olsen is still better than a good OJ. Olsen will never stand there and let his quarterback get hit. I'm sorry, he won't. And OJ was just a name I was throwing out, dude. That I don't care about Olsen at all. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I was interested in it, and I think it's something that a lot of people would consider because Olsen has been a buck killer. But has he declined? Yes. Are the Carolina Panthers going in a different direction? Yes. With me, with Olsen,
Well,
it's been an injury thing.
I think a lot of Olsen's decline is in the team decline as well. So,
Right. Well, it's been the foot
you know.
injuries the last couple of years. He's had chronic foot problems and
yeah, his neck.
Right. Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, I get that. Like I said, I was throwing Olsen's name out there just to mess with you and shit,
Well, that's okay. You mess with me.
and
I'll take it.
start some thinking going on and shit.
I'm always
But-
thinking.
But what was he saying? The offensive line,
Yes.
or when he was talking about, Nick was talking about Howard. You know how I feel about Howard, man. There's no way any good tight end in this league. Man, look at Kittle and Kelsey. They block, dude, and they block big guys. They take on any linebacker. That's what a tight end's supposed to do. If you're too weak to stand there and take on a linebacker and let your quarterback get blasted, then I don't need you on my team. I'm sorry. Your position is tight end. It's not wide receiver. If you're our wide receivers block better than our tight ends.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you some homework, Johnny Dean, the professor. I want you to watch this Super Bowl on Sunday, and I want you to break down everything that these tight ends do that the Bucs tight ends
I will
don't.
break down everything Kittle does right now because I've been watching them all year.
Well, that's not what I told
Kelsey,
you. I want you to go
we
into
already
the
know
game.
what Kelsey is.
Right.
Kelsey's a good blocking tight end.
Well, I want you to go into the game and do that. I want you to watch the game. But if you'd like to give it to me now, feel free. I'm just saying it would be something interesting, something up your alley, being the professor here, the voice of reason, where you'd be able to break down what both of those tight ends do for both of their teams that OJ Howard and Cameron Brate don't do for the Bucs.
They run routes. They don't
Okay.
just run flat routes. They run routes. They run blocking routes. They open lanes. They run the ball. Kelsey and Kittle both run the ball. You can hand the ball off to them. They're going to go through a lane like a running back. You know, they don't just play the outside. They play inside. They block inside, outside. What do you want? They do it. That's what a tight end is supposed to do. A tight end is a jack of all trades. That's what a tight end's position was supposed to be in the beginning. They're a jack of all trades. They're not a wide receiver. Why? If you want a wide receiver, get another wide receiver.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you look, you have a tight end like a OJ Howard or a Cameron Brate who has that type of speed, especially Howard. You would think that you can create those mismatch nightmares, but they weren't able to do that this year, either because of the offense or because, like you said, they're just not good at running these routes yet.
And Kittle is amazing in the run game, dude.
Yeah.
He blows over people. He's like Derrick Henry in the run game.
Yeah, no.
If-
I agree with you. He's from Iowa. So, I mean, look, that's where you go get a tight end. Usually he's from Iowa. That they make good tight ends there. So,
Okay. And with our weaknesses on the line in the run game, and Ben will say the run game's lacking because we pass the ball, but that's vice versa too. I mean, Arians his offense averages 550 yards or 550 passes or 525 passes per game. That's high, but there's a lot of running involved. He's never had to pass the ball 625 times in any game.
Right.
This year, season. This year was the first time he's ever done that. It's the highest mark he's had.
And that's why I would not be surprised for them to go and pick up David Johnson, because he's had his most productive years in Arians' offense. It may not necessarily be too cheap, but it's not going to be too expensive. I think he gets cut from the Cardinals. And I think, again, it's a marriage that definitely works in this offense. You get a guy that knows your offense, that you have confidence in, that you can leave him on 3 downs. If not, like we talked with Luke Easterling of Sports Illustrated the other night, he was talking about possibly Cam Akers. You know, Leo Haggerty, your buddy there, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Sportsman.
Jonathan Taylor. I'm not paying a first round pick for any running back. I'm sorry. There's too many good running backs you can get late in the late rounds.
So you wouldn't take an Ezekiel Elliott? You wouldn't take a Leonard
Fournette? No, not because the importance of the position isn't that high, dude. Not when you can get a Derrick Henry in the 4th round or something. You know what I mean?
Well, you got Derrick Henry.
Why would you do that? Why would you?
Well,
I'm just saying.
Wait a minute now. You got Derrick Henry in the 2nd round, first and foremost, and you just said the importance of the position. Well, don't tell the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that, because they could have drafted Dalvin Cook in the 1st round. They drafted Howard. So the importance of the position is still important in the NFL. I know what you're saying. You can find them in the later rounds, but you know, I always go back.
Walk-ons.
Right.
Connors for Pittsburgh was a walk-on. Okay?
But I always go back to this comment, one of my favorite movies, Casino, right? And he's off and off all the guys at the end. And he goes, yeah, Andy's a really good guy. He's a good dude. You know, he's done everything. Stand up. Wait. Let me finish. He's a stand-up guy. And the other guy goes, why take a chance? Why risk it? Just off him. The same thing. Why take a chance? If you have an opportunity to get a running back in the 1st round to fill a need, which you still have not addressed over the last couple of years, then you got to do it. Go ahead.
Which need is worse, an offensive tackle or a running back?
Well, of course, an offensive tackle, but
all right, that's the perspective I'm going from.
Okay.
I'm going from our team's needs right now.
Okay.
If we've had all that stuff filled, we had running lanes and stuff open and shit. All we needed was a running back to fix it up. 1st round, I don't care. Okay. Then I'm happy. Then I'm okay with it.
Fair enough. Anything else, Johnny?
You said something earlier. I can't remember what it was. I keep forgetting things, man. Tonight, I'm having a bad night, man.
Dude, it's all right.
I think I'm gonna pop something on these guys. You know, I sent that thing to you, the 4 a.m. thing.
Yes, you did.
I'm doing some research into that, and it's starting to look a little different. It's not like a joke anymore to me. I'm really looking into that, and it looks like there might be something to that.
Oh, you mean Jameis Winston has actually made the receivers better?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll perish the thought. I mean,
perish that thought.
I thought it was the receivers in Godwin and Evans that were making Winston a better quarterback. Oh,
I'm not taking away anything from Godwin and Evans because they are great receivers.
Right.
But you take Winston. All right, just for example with Hump. Look at that, man. What happened when he left? He's nothing. He's not doing anything.
Right.
I guarantee they're regretting the money they're spending on him right now.
Well, look, hey, now you're the guy that goes, well, Perryman's going to go somewhere else. And I always say, look, the grass isn't greener on the other side. Right. So,
yeah. I was all for getting rid of Perryman. I'm all for, I thought he was garbage. I was watching balls hitting him in the hands of him, just dropping them and stuff. Right.
But I'm saying if he goes to another team, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to duplicate that production because he's not going to be comfortable in that system.
But I'm not going to swear by any of this right now because I'm still researching it. It's just a thought that came across my mind at 4 a.m. and I started looking into it and it was like, wow, this kind of looks fishy. You know, I mean, he took rookies in the last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah. I'm reading some comments here. I got to read this Ben Cornette comment.
Oh, I can imagine the Ben Cornette comments are blowing up right now.
Johnny loves his offensive lineman, Peter, so back off. I like offensive linemen too, but I feel like there's still a need there at running back, and I'm not.
Oh, that's something that they were talking about in chat too. Yeah,
right.
The Arians, and you guys said Arians don't develop offensive line. Arians has a shit ton of offensive line coaches in there this year to develop the offensive line. So that's a load of crap. Arians is developing the offensive line. He knows where the weaknesses were.
I got to tell you something. We've got to do this sometime where we get fans to debate each other because, look, as sports broadcasters, we can debate and do that whole pardon the interruption, but I've never seen fans do it. And I want the first debate to be between Johnny Dean, the professor, and Ben Cornett from Las Vegas. I'll sit back. I'll judge. I'll let
Ben and Johnny have been debating for 10 years now.
That's what
least.
I'm saying. I mean, let's let it go. Let's, it's kind of like the Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let's get it going here. Let's have a debate between you guys. We'll pick a night.
The problem with that is me and Ben kind of see eye to eye on most things. We just debate it to death.
You guys are like in the same book, but a different page, I guess, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. All right.
You want a good debate? Get me and Ray Kennedy going.
Oh, you want to get Ray Kennedy on? Well, okay.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Ray.
Get Tampa Bay up, man.
I'll get Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. We'll pick a night. What night do you want to do? You want to do it on Monday? We can't do Tuesday because we got Al on. We can do it afterwards, or we could do it on a Wednesday maybe, or we could do it on a Friday night. What are you thinking?
I have my schedule and see how many doctor's appointments I have with Tracy this week or whenever in the future.
I got you. All right, good stuff. Thanks a lot, Johnny Dean, the professor, for calling the Sports Web. All right?
All right, later on.
Later. All right, there you go. Open phone line, 813-699-5353, 813-699-5353. A lot of self-glossing on this show. You know what, Travis Faley? I don't want to hear your mouth here on the Sports Web. If you want to call in and have something to say, call the phone lines, 813-699-5353. It's 813-699-5353. Yes, we are talking about the Super Bowl. Like I've always said, is it a radio show? Is it a TV show? I don't know what the hell it is. It's the evolution of sports talk television. And if you want to talk about Super Bowl 54, you want to talk about the matchups, you want to give your predictions, then definitely come aboard. Have a voice in this because you do have it almost every night on the Sports Web. All right, let's see here. 110 says, Milo, Barry Bonds is a home run king and Jameis sucks. Laugh out loud. Well, first and foremost, in my opinion, Bonds is not the home run king. It's Hank Aaron because Bonds is a lying, dirty cheater. All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Matt from Oklahoma City, welcome to the Sports Web.
Oh, hell, you know my number now.
I do know your number. I saved it. There you go, buddy. Hopefully we don't lose you. Go ahead.
I'm going to sit still, so it should be okay. I just wanted to talk about the argument you guys were having with Johnny about not argument, but running back or lineman, which comes first. It's like a chicken and an egg deal.
Chicken and the egg, baby. Chicken and egg. Yep.
I think and I've said it all season, I think Peyton Barber is usable, serviceable, utilitarian. He's going to get you 4 or 5 yards of carry. And I don't know about this Ronald Jones guy. He's like Winston, but you never know what you're going to get.
Wait a minute.
But
wait, Matt. Now, come on. You're comparing a running back who barely ever got any touches in his rookie year to now. He definitely made light years of improvement this year when he was able.
I'm not trying to dog him out too bad, but he had great games and he had games, and I just want to see more consistency from him.
The offensive line's got to be
better this year,
right? But the offensive line's got to be better. They got to open up the holes here. They got to be better. They're one of the highest paid.
I was getting to that.
Okay.
Are we going to buy Jensen again? The center, is he going to come back?
I don't know. I mean, it's $11 million. It's certainly possible that they could, cut their ties with them. But I thought he played pretty well last year. I think your problem is, first and foremost, you've got to keep Alex Kappa healthy. He's got to stay healthy, of course. And then DeMar Dotson, if you sign him to a 1-year contract, he's not a starter. He's just a depth piece at this point. You've got to address the line either in free agency or in the draft. And it's got to improve from that side.
And I think it should be draft. You guys were going through the names of people, and you talked about that guy from Green Bay, Beluga or whatever his name is.
Balaga. Yeah.
Balaga. He's good, but he's 105, and he's old as my father.
Well, he's not as old as your father. He's about 31 years old. I don't think he's,
in football years, that's 50 something.
Okay.
So, what I'm saying is, and I've said this to you a couple of times before, if we spent this whole draft picking up linemen, both sides of the ball,
mm-hmm.
and then grabbing I like Johnny Dean's idea. Grab a third, fourth round running back. You never know who you're going to get out of that. You could end up with gold. It seems to be more logical to me that way than to throw the dice on a first round running back or whatever and ignore the trenches again. That'd be like the third or fourth year that they've done that. And
that hasn't
they
worked out,
drafted-
Matt. That has not worked out very well for them, has it?
No, they got Alan Marpet. They found him. What was he, from Eastern Kentucky or something like that?
Yeah.
And
Hobart.
if you look at where he came from, I'm surprised they had a scout go out there, because you can't fly to the place. you got to drive.
Right.
I used to live out that direction. So anyway, I'm just kind of making a joke, but
No, that's cool.
I just think, in my book, you're going to buy the lineman before you buy the running back. I think you've got running backs. Nobody seems to give them a lot of credence. They may not be WD-40 back there, but they're usable. And I don't think Peyton Barber drops the ball that much. So to me, he's good enough. And it's kind of like I said about Winston. I'd rather have somebody with 3,000 yards and 12 interceptions than 5,030.
No.
But
Yeah.
if the line holds up and we can get lanes and that kind of thing, then you know if you got a running back crew or not. If you're not able to do that, you can't judge the running backs on what they're having to work with right now. That's my opinion. And I don't think we need Greg Olsen. I think the poor guy needs to go home and put his foot up and just forget about it, because he broke his foot 2 years in a row. I just don't think he's got anything much left to go except expertise. And I don't know if he's going to come over, and if we put him on the Bucs, if he's going to coach the tight ends. I don't think we have a need for that kind of thing.
Well, he would definitely show the tight ends how to block and how to play 100% at all times, O.J. Howard. I mean, wouldn't he? Wouldn't he be an upgrade?
I'll give you that.
Okay.
I respect Greg Olsen and Luke Kuechly. Those are the two players I liked on that team.
He's been a
I
Bucs
didn't care too
killer.
much.
I mean,
What's that?
he's been a Bucs killer throughout his career. I'm not saying he's going to do it now for the Bucs, but look, you can always kick those tires if you feel like you're not happy with that situation with Howard. I'm not giving up on him. I'm just saying he's got to be better. Okay, he's got the potential.
Yeah,
right. And I'm going to be hard on him. I'm going to be a little bit biased because I didn't like the pick in the first place. I didn't like it. And I'll tell you right now, I went in the offseason thinking this guy could be the next Rob Gronkowski, and he looks like Chris Gronkowski, his brother, which is not a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I'm wondering, we've got Cameron Brate. Everybody likes him, so why don't we just do away with O.J. Howard? They don't use that many tight ends anyway in this offense. So
yeah. Well, the problem is he's 24, 25 years old. You do away with him, he goes somewhere else, he's productive, and then you're basically kicking yourself.
Trade him for a second or third round.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I don't even know if he's got that much value. You know, for me, he hasn't done much. He hasn't been able to stay healthy consistently. He's shown flashes of brilliance. He's had some yards and some touchdowns, but he just hasn't been consistent enough. I'm not ready to give up on him, but you've got to improve that situation. And look, this is on the coaching staff too. This is on Byron Leftwich and Coach Arians to get those tight ends involved. And if you have these weapons like a Howard, like a Brate, you've got to get them more involved into this offense, especially if defenses, which they did that last year. You look at what the Saints did, double teaming Chris Godwin and bracketing Mike Evans. Well, then where's all your throws going? That's where your tight ends have to step up, not just your third wide receiver and a Perryman or a Miller or a Watson. That's where your tight ends have to step up and then do a good job of that. Maybe Brate.
Well, they did toward the end of the year.
Yeah.
Didn't they? So, I don't know. Maybe next year will be the beginning of the good stuff. Maybe just we have to look at the last quarter of this season and think that that's where we're going to start from next year, and it'll be better. But I don't know. I don't want to see him walk away from Howard for nothing, but if we don't need him, we should try to get some kind of picks for it. That's what made New England so deep. They trade everybody for a fifth or sixth rounder, and then they end up with 25 people in a position you could go for days and never have to worry about it because everybody's coached up.
Matt,
That's how they got to where they are.
Matt, let me get this straight. You don't want to walk away from O.J. Howard without getting anything, but you want to walk away from a quarterback 26 years old who's a former number one pick for nothing, right? Come on, Matt.
I don't want to. I said,
okay,
we're not going to let him go. We can't let him go.
Okay.
We won't let him go.
Okay.
It's frustrating, though. How do you go as a general manager and sell the season tickets and the luxury boxes and all of that stuff when you got a quarterback that's so left and right? He's yin and yang. It's just crazy.
He is. He is the most exciting player in the NFL. But what I tell my fan base is, look, we're going in the right direction. We were 7-9. It's not like we were 5-11 or 4-12. We were 7-9. Could have won those games. What we got to do is continue to build on this defense and build that line for this quarterback and for that running game so it can take the pressure off of the quarterback. That's how you sell the fan base. You say, we're going in the right direction. We got money in free agency. We're going to sign our own guys. We're going to try to help each other out here. We're going to be aggressive because the Super Bowl is in our own backyard. We're going to take an aggressive approach. That's how you sell your fan base. You be aggressive. You don't sit back. You don't trade back and get picks and do all this other nonsense and all these other people that want to be smarter than the other guy in the room does. What you do is you be aggressive. That's what you do. You come out with a plan. You be decisive. Thank you.
So what are you going to do? You're going to go buy. How many more free agents can you get if you sign that whole defense back up?
Well,
you get everybody. Even Sue retires. What is he? $9 million. So you're going to have all of those guys that you got to sign, plus Jameis, who's wanting $30 million for 5 years or whatever the hell he thinks he's going to get.
Well,
I don't think that's
we don't know that $30 million is an exact figure. Again, you can walk in and want a car at a certain
franchise tag is going to be guaranteed Matt, 26 or 27 million.
Matt, I can walk in and want a car, which I did before, and the guy told me this price, and I told him this price, and we came to a common ground, and that's the price you went with. It's called negotiation, my friend. Always negotiating. Okay, so he may want $30 million. I may want a supermodel girlfriend in my house right now, but you settle for what you can get. Okay, you do a sports web, you do the sports talk show, the evolution of sports talk television, and you call it a night. Anything else?
All right. No, I'm going to lose it if I stay with you on this one.
Go ahead. Lose it. I like when you lose it. And we go back and forth on this. You're a good sport, man.
The market price on Jameis, even if we just franchise him, is $27 million. That's what I'm hearing. That's what they're saying on all the shows. So that seems to be the magic number. So if we franchise him 1 year, which is what I would do, I'd give him a franchise tag like they did with Cousins and keep doing that till he gets his head out of his ass. If he shows progress next year, then the following year, sign him up to something like he wants.
Yeah.
But he hasn't done the show me yet. He's done I'm the number one draft pick and I can throw, 18 miles worth of passes every year. But he's not winning. And I know it's not all him. It's not fair to put it all on him, but it is. If he was winning, like Pat Mahomes, you'd swear he was a Hall of Famer. Everybody's trying to talk him into getting a bus next month. And I don't necessarily agree with we got to sign him to Winston to a 3-year deal. I think that if he went to another team, he wouldn't have the tools that he's got here for the kind of team that he'd end up on. And that's what he has to consider. And he should do a little hometown work and say, I'll give you 1 more year in this offense if you give me XYZ, and we'll do a 1-year franchise tag. And then we go out and be aggressive and fit the pieces that need to be fit in there, like the line, maybe an upgraded running back if you can find one, or a free agent, and give it to him. And then if he can't get it done next year, we did everything we could do. Now we're going to go find ourselves Tua or something, whatever you got to get.
Yeah.
And get somebody in here. I'll give him the 2nd year in the offense. A lot of coaches, when you come in and you got to learn everything, it kind of drops you back as far as your progression.
Right.
But he's a number 1 draft pick that was a number 1 player at a number 1 college with a national championship. He's not showing that. He's showing.
I'm not.
Look,
Look, he's a number one pick. You're right, national championship, but he went to a garbage team. I mean, let's just put it out there, right? Not a great team, not a great offensive line, not a great defense, still not a good running game at all. I mean, let's put facts as facts. Joe Burrow's
Aaron Rodgers doesn't have Bill Beavers around him.
Whoa. Joe Burrow, wait a minute. Let's do this comparison. Joe Burrow is going to go to the Cincinnati Bengals. Do you think that he's going to take that team to the playoffs in a year?
No.
Do you think he's going to take that? Wait a minute. Now, do you think that he's going to take the team to the playoffs in 2 years? Maybe. Maybe. Third year? Yeah, that's when the lights turn on, as my father would say here. God bless him.
But you need to see progression forward. You would see next year, everybody's brand new, so it's going to blow chunks. It's not going to be worth a damn.
But you have to build
then
a
the following
team
year,
around
you're
him.
going to be in the middle of it.
Right.
And by the third year, you should have some progress out of the deal. Not everybody's going to be like this Pat Mahomes thing where he comes in the first year, he just blows the doors off. I understand that. That's a rare thing.
The difference is, what's the difference between Jameis Winston and Pat
because
Mahomes?
Jameis has had 5 damn years to do it.
But Pat, wait a minute. Pat Mahomes was able to sit behind Alex Smith and learn the offense for a year, and that team was built around him. You threw Jameis right into the fire with a bad team and expected him to basically make chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what. Now, come on, man.
Weren't they 9-7 or something like that the first year or second year when Doug Martin was running?
They were 9-7. They brought back the defensive coordinator, and the defense was trash. They went out into free agency. They got malcontents from the Redskins and Baker and Jackson and completely destroyed that locker room. But still, Wilson has been able to be productive, even with not the best. I'm going to make you a bet. Joe Burrow doesn't take the Bengals to the playoffs until probably year 3. You know why? Because that team needs to be built up. There's a reason why they're the worst team in the NFL, right? That's why.
I agree with that.
Okay, so let's be fair about it.
We're not the worst team, though. We're not the worst team.
We're not the worst team We're not the worst team in the last 5 years. You didn't fire 2 coaches. You didn't have 2 offensive coordinators. You think that's going to work in somebody's favor of a young quarterback? How many offensive coordinators has Tom Brady had in his career?
A bunch.
No, he hasn't. He's had probably 1 or 2, maybe 1. That was Josh McDaniels. He's had the same system. Look at Ben Roethlisberger, same system.
Josh McDaniels moved up from like receivers and special teams up to where he is now.
But the point is, if you're going to compare Rodgers and all these greats and even Russell Wilson, the difference is they've had the continuity factor of the team being built around them and the consistent nature. That's what breeds a quarterback's progression, right? It's not.
I agree with that.
Okay, there we go. Anything else, Matt?
That's why I say he's got his second year to get it right, and then if he can't do it next year, we're going to have to find something else to do. That's reasonable. I think I'm being pretty fair.
Okay.
But we'll leave it at that.
All right, good stuff, Matt. What was your pick again for Super Bowl 54?
I'm taking the Chiefs. I think they got too much offense for San Francisco to get behind.
Give me a score.
If San Francisco gets behind, they can't catch up.
All right.
Because they're a slower running team kind of thing with a defense that gets people off the field. But I just don't think they got everything they need against the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs got way too much more speed to worry about.
Okay.
That's just me. I might be wrong. I'll call you Monday and let you know.
Well, you call me on Sunday night after the game. I'll have a post-game show, and if you win the score, I'll give you a big pat on the back. All right?
That boy. All right, then, Pete.
All right, there you go. Matt Colson from Oklahoma City. I like that guy. I really do. We can go back and forth all night long. I can get him to say, I agree with you. I see it. It's fair. That's what I love about the evolution of sports talk television. It's my show, but it's also your show. 813-699-5353. That is 813-699-5353. Let's go out to the web heads unless we get another call. But we interrupt. We got to definitely interact. Going back to the Barry Bonds as a home run king. He's not. He's a cheater. Doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. Nice troll job there from Roger Shue and Newport Richie. And Jameis, you know how I feel about it. All right. Johnny Dean, go ahead.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Start talking about this O-line and all these coaches and stuff that we've had and shit.
Yes.
Okay. We talk about the running games ended. The running game ended when Lovie Smith got rid of 3 Pro Bowl linemen. Okay? That's when the running game stopped. Ernest Byner was the running backs coach for Doug Martin, and he was gone. And the three linemen that we lost, Donald Penn, Zutah, and what was the other guy's name? Jeremy Zutah.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
Zutah,
talking about, though. Lovie Smith destroyed our O-line, and it never got rebuilt. It never got focused on. And we had Warhop as the line coach.
Agreed.
Now, who knows what Warhop was doing on his knees to keep that job?
Wow, dude. All right. Yeah, you're not a big George Warhop fan, but you're exactly right. The offensive line didn't develop around him. They had problems. They still have problems.
So don't give me this crap about the running game stopped and then when Winston and stop the stupid crap, man. Everybody just needs to back off on that stuff. The team has not been built sufficient. Lovie Smith came in here, got rid of the O-line. Who knows what his scheme was because he didn't get to stay around long enough to install a scheme.
Right. But he also got rid of
and then we get Jason Light, who swore he would not develop nobody. Mm-hmm. His people were supposed to be plug and play. Well, we saw what they plugged and played, right?
Yeah, he plugged and played.
Now somebody's trying to develop a team, and everybody's like, "We're 6 years in, or we're 5 years." No, we're not. Last year was year one.
Exactly. Thank you. Preach. That's what I'm saying. Plug and play. It was like, putting your hand in a light socket. That's how it was to watch that team. Plug and play. I got your plug and play. And when you get rid of Darrelle Revis and you can't find a way to get him into your defense, and I know this is way back, and everybody's, why are you talking about the past? Because it's stupid. That's why. When you bring a coach in and the coach basically tells you, we can't use an all-pro Hall of Fame cornerback in our defense, and we got to let him go for salary reasons, and then he goes to the New England Patriots and wins a Super Bowl, get out. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the whole thing, all right, Schiano.
Yeah.
Schiano was brought in here to clean house. That's all he was brought in here for.
Yep.
He was brought in here to clean house, install a military version so the people that were here would be doing the team stuff instead of out shooting up cabs and stuff.
Yes, I agree with you. That would be Aqib Talib, yes, who went on also to win a Super Bowl for the Broncos. Yes.
So this team has not had a developmental staff since Gruden left.
Yep, pretty much. And even then, when you had Gruden here, he didn't develop a lot either. He went out to free agency.
Yeah, that's what. Well, honestly, all right. Honestly, then we go back to Dungy. Dungy was the last person who actually developed players.
Yep, Dungy and McKay. I agree with you on that. Good stuff, Johnny. Anything else?
Oh, I'm sure somebody will get me fired up again.
All right, man. Call back in whenever you feel like it. All right.
All right. Bye.
813-699-5353. 813-699-5353. There's no limit. Man, I'm not going to have you call here 10 times. If you want to, I guess we'll be on all freaking night. But that's what we do here. Response is good, we'll stay on. If it's not, I'll get off. I'll go and watch NFL Network's coverage of Super Bowl 54. That's what you do on a Friday night. Right there. Exciting, right? 813-699-5353. All right, Milo Jackson, better than I thought. Matt Colson, I knew Olsen was going to hang it up. Christopher says, what's going on? How you doing? No more Cam Newton. Carolina is going to be a whole new team, a virtual rebuild there without Luke Kuechly, Greg Olsen, and most likely Cam Newton with a coach that has, a 7-year contract with the new offensive coordinator and Joe Brady. Absolutely. The running game is lacking because Cutter and Arians run pass-heavy type offenses. Bucks should move on. 5 years, no playoffs. Last year, 30 turnovers. 30 turnovers. Blah, blah, blah. 30 turnovers. That's what I hear. 20 to 23 million, a 2-year deal. We'll see. Pay that man. Bye-bye, Jameis. Good riddance. Once again, Roger Shue trying to be the troll king tonight out of Newport Richie. It's where you find most of the trolls, by the way, right on the side of the road. All right, Ben Cornett from Las Vegas. Welcome to the Sports Web.
Hey, Peter, what's going on?
Nothing much, buddy. Just trying to read these comments from these webheads, not to upset them, but go ahead. We're taking phone calls tonight. What's on your mind?
I just watched the Kobe tribute. Tough to watch.
Did you?
Good to watch.
Yes.
Tough.
Right.
Yeah. So let's get happy again, and that's why I called. So I can. Dad and I watched that. Oh God, that awful dog food match on SmackDown, and I can't get it out of my head.
Oh, geez. Don't tell me SmackDown's rating again is going to be an 0.8.
Pretty
It's
much.
terrible.
I mean,
Terrible.
yeah, skipped it this week.
Fox has got to be
It was
kicking
awful,
themselves
but-
right now. That's $1 billion deal, and they're going to lose so much money on that with WWE. WWE, it's such garbage. Vince McMahon needs to leave. He needs to walk out. He needs to walk out the door. Let the real guys take over. Let a Heyman, let a Triple H run that creative, because whatever they're doing right now, ratings-wise, is not working for SmackDown. Go ahead.
Well, XFL starts next week.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you know,
Excited.
maybe Vince will. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm excited about it too. I mean, extra football. You get to see possible players develop, and then maybe get on teams so they can develop. You know, but I got to tell you earlier, it wasn't Gruden. You're right about Gruden. He really didn't develop players. We have to go all the way back to the Stone Ages. I mean, back to Dungy. He developed players.
Sure.
Dungy, and then, you know, so far Arians. So far, you know, we'll see what happens down the road. But yeah, everything before Dungy and Arians was garbage. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no.
Not so much Gruden, but he won
right.
a Super Bowl. But he already did that with, you know, really back to Sam Weish's players.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's Sam Weish and Tony Dungy's at defense. Everybody's talked about it. We talked about this before, but again, give credit to where credit is due with John Gruden. Bringing in 17 to 19 offensive free agents, including the likes of Joe Jurevicius, Keenan McCardell, some free agents on that offensive line, Robin Oben, Ken Dilger, the other tight end, Ricky Dudley. I mean,
Randall McDaniel? Is that it?
I don't know if he was there or not. I think he was before.
Was he before?
You're
Okay.
thinking of Kerry Jenkins, I think. That's who you're thinking of. Kerry Jenkins.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, of course I'm right.
Okay, yeah. Well, of course you're right. Yeah. Okay. Right. Got it.
Go
Your
ahead,
show,
man.
I forgot.
Yeah, that's right. Shut up. Go ahead. What else? Are you
Oh
happy?
no, I'm just saying. But you're right. But to see with those free agents, though, Peter, we could do that because we had a team that's already a playoff contender.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You know, where over the years past, Light has built the draft through free agency instead of building through the draft. He's built the team through the draft or through free agency rather than the draft. So that's what I'm saying. Back at that time, we could bring in those free agents to get us over the top.
Yeah, no. You're exactly right. And that's where this development or this organization has gone down. When you don't draft correctly, then you have to go into free agency. You have to overpay players at the position over what they did the previous year. That doesn't always work out. You know, tree humper, Chris Baker. What a slob on that defensive line. I mean, just a complete
Robert
slob.
Ayers? Really?
Well, Robert Ayers, you know, I'll tell you right now, it's a shame about Robert Ayers because he hurt himself, but he is what he is. He was a 6.5, 7.5 guy. You were paying him $8 to $9 million. That's what you get.
That was a bad signing.
Well,
Vinny Curry, that was a bad signing.
I agree.
Come on.
But that's where you got to draft. If you're going to draft defensive ends and you're going to get it wrong.
That's because he didn't draft the right positions. Offensive line, defensive line. You've got to draft and develop those. Those are the most important positions to develop. So he didn't draft those guys. Now he has to go into free agency to overpay for middle of the road average offensive linemen, which really never works.
It doesn't. It does not. Saving money in free agency doesn't work unless you're going to get a guy that, like a Shaq Barrett, you never really started. You take a chance on him, and he even said it himself. The reason why he wanted to come to Tampa Bay believed in him. That's the reason why he's going to stay, because they had belief in him, unlike the Broncos, who felt like he was a second string guy, which he turned out he wasn't. So we'll see what he does in the second year, and we'll see what happens tomorrow night at the NFL Honors Celebration.
Okay, I want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Two things. One, Deontay needs to call. We need to prove that it's actually him and not your burner account. Secondly, we need to have somebody fire up Johnny. Somebody fire him up. We need more out of him. I don't think he's
Johnny's fired up, but you guys got to get on one night. I know he kind of said that you guys always debate, but I need to get you both on one night, have you debate, let the webheads judge, let me and another, maybe a Blake Anthony or maybe a Travis Bailey, judge the debate unbiasedly, because I like both of you guys, and see who wins the debate.
I'm down for that.
Okay.
But like Johnny said, we kind of agree on a lot of things.
Okay.
So it's, you may not get that
I don't know what you want to call it, that there's not as much hatred. You know what I mean? Like
Good.
respectful,
Okay.
disagreeing as much as you would think. But you never know. We could try it.
Okay. Sounds good. We can definitely try it. Ben Cornett from Las Vegas. Who do you got winning the Super Bowl? Super Bowl 54. Give me a score.
Boy, Peter, I've been going back and forth on this
Me
all
too,
week,
man. Me too.
And
Me too.
it's tough. It's really tough. I'm gonna go Kansas City. I don't know why. I just have that feeling. I would pick the Niners too because defense wins championships. But I just got that feeling. That I don't know. That you just feel like it's their time. You just feel like Andy, the football gods, are finally going to tell Andy, okay, we've tortured you enough.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give you your Super Bowl.
It's much like the feeling when Bill Cowher went with the Steelers and he was in Detroit and you had Jerome Bennis.
Yeah.
That was the kind of deal there. Yeah, I agree, but I don't feel that way. I feel this is going to be the 49ers. Okay. I think Kyle Shanahan's going to be the guy. I've kind of given away my pick, but I'll get more into it. But a good pick.
What worries me real quick, Peter, is Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay.
That's what worries me. Sometimes he has these bad games where he's going to throw an interception or two.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't play his best game. I kind of worry about that with the Niners. I trust their defense and their run game, but if Garoppolo has to throw, I definitely give the edge to Mahomes.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Thanks a lot, Ben Cornett. We'll have a post-game edition of the Sports Web after the Super Bowl. All right?
All right, man. Take care.
All right. There you go. So 813-699-5353, 813-699-5353. It's the Sports Web. We'll get to the Peter King comments, but want to get to your comments first. Let's read this one. Franchise him, see how he plays. We can even franchise tag him again if you need to. Say there's no good quarterbacks in the draft or free agency. Actually, Dalton is surprisingly mobile still. O-line is an absolute must. Agree. Good stuff, Chris. Andy Dalton is worse than a broken Phillip Rivers. We need both tackles and a center. I don't think they're going to go both tackles. Welcome to the Sports Web. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Mr. Blake. How are you today? I'm calling from beautiful St. Petersburg, Florida. I would love to talk about a plethora of things, including the Super Bowl. Will you take my call?
Absolutely, Mr. Travis Faley of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, my Tampa Bay Lightning insider and around the NFL correspondent of the Sports Web. Have at it, my friend.
Talk about the Lightning. That team's on fire right now on the West Coast, playing fairly well, beating up on the Pacific Division once again. Got a game coming up, I believe, tomorrow night against the Sharks. And then, hey, it's Super Bowl Sunday, baby. Looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it, too. I think they should make it sooner because the kind of layoff and the kind of anticipation of waiting for it to get here, I'm kind of over it at this point. And the press conferences really weren't that telling this week, besides Frank Clark basically calling D4 dumb for the penalty last year. That's bulletin board material. But everything else has been, well, we respect this guy. We respect that guy. They're not going all WWE style. And I like to see them go WWE style because it's stuff we can talk about here on the Sports Web. So what else?
Well, Pete, you got to realize, there's a lot of travel. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that has to be put in play. Families have to get down for the game. I understand it. Do I think it should be on Saturday? Absolutely. But then it does. What are you going to do? You're going to change the moniker of Super Bowl Sunday to Super Bowl Saturday? I don't know. I like the idea. Don't get me wrong, because I like the Super Bowl party just like everybody else. But I don't like having to work the next day, just like everybody else.
Exactly. I mean, that's a sin in itself. First and foremost, Super Bowl Sunday or Saturday should be a national holiday. And then you got to give the people out there at least a day to recuperate, not only from the drinking and the adult beverages, but also the fact that football is basically gone. But, and it's a big but, a Beyonce but, it would be the XFL coming up next week, which a lot of people are looking forward to, including yours truly. So,
absolutely, myself also included in that, Pete. So, waiting to see if we get credentials for that. I'm sure that'll probably play out fairly well for us. Looking forward to being out on the field again at Raymond James Stadium. And I tell you, I'm really, really excited about that because we might get the opportunity to see one of the area's best players and most exciting players of all time grace the field at Raymond James once again, and Mr. Quentin Flowers.
Yeah, very true. You got also Aaron Murray, who is a local product, did some good things with the Bulldogs, really can never catch on in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs. So there's a lot of interesting things here. Mark Trestman being the new coach, Terry Glanville being the defensive coordinator. I'm wondering if he's still leaving tickets at the office for Elvis to come and show up. But there's a lot of interesting history here. You have the Tampa Bay Bandits in the past. So I think it's going to catch on because it's a Tampa Bay sports thing and it's football.
I don't know if it's going to catch on, and to the extent that I'm sure, Vince McMahon's going to want it to, but, if they have the credentials, they have the monetary resources, not like the other league that just folded up like a cheap suit. So let's give it a couple seasons. If it makes it a couple seasons, then we start looking at numbers and see if this thing's a viable product and something to move forward with. That's for sure.
No, absolutely. So how do you see this game, this matchup between the Chiefs and the 49ers on Sunday?
Well, everybody says a couple different things. Obviously, if the front four can get pressure on Mahomes still hasn't really had a bad game in his whole career, guys. If you look at it from start to finish, he really hasn't, had a stinker out there. And you guys are talking about, Garoppolo maybe having throw a couple picks and having a bad game. I don't know if I see it, but one thing Garoppolo does more than anybody else is he likes to throw the ball over the middle, and he has a problem with the linebacker, a la somebody that we talk about all the time on this show. Yeah. So if Garoppolo's got to throw it a lot and they can't establish the run, it might be a little bit difficult because, Kansas City's going to get their points. If San Francisco can keep Kansas City to about 31, I think San Francisco does have a shot because that secondary and the linebacking crew from Kansas City is definitely questionable. Their strength is up front on that defensive line.
Yeah, and you're looking at, and we're on with Travis Faley of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, Tampa Bay Lightning insider around the NFL, correspondent of the Sports Web. I'm looking at Kansas City, and maybe we're kind of taking them for granted with a Frank Clark who's been productive, with a Chris Jones who's a productive defensive player, with a Honey Badger in that secondary. They do have defense. It's just that I think San Francisco has a better defense than Kansas City has ever seen. And if Kansas City gets down early in this game like they've done the last two games, I think it's over. I think San Francisco will put them out. They'll be physical with them. I'm curious once again to see that big time matchup. I keep on going back to it. It's one in the trenches with the defensive line of the 49ers versus that offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think that they can contain Mahomes and definitely shut down that offense with their physicality.
I don't know about that, Pete. That offensive line from Kansas City is pretty damn fantastic. And Mahomes does not really get hit very often. Mahomes probably got hit less than 15 times all season long in the grand scheme, and throughout the whole year. Yeah. So we're going to see how it all plays out. If there's so many weapons on Kansas City that can be open, we might be seeing a Hill Sherman matchup. But if that's the case, then Tyreek Hill can blow the top off it. And that over 44 yards for that little prop bet might come into play.
No, absolutely. And that's the matchup I'm looking forward to with all the trash talk between Darrelle Revis and Richard Sherman and how Revis is basically saying Sherman plays zone. I want to see that one-on-one matchup with Sherman and Hill and see how it's handled. And then on top of it, if you do shut down Hill and you decide to bracket coverage towards him, then who are the guys that step up? A Travis Kelce? Ooh, the linebackers there. Quan Alexander has problems with covering a tight end. And then the other side, you have those two speed merchants and Robinson and Hardman. Can they get out?
Don't forget Sammy Watkins, too. You got to take Sammy Watkins as a big player in this league.
I can't believe I forgot Sammy Watkins, but Sammy Watkins is scary. So, look, the 49ers definitely have their hands full with the skilled positions. But as I always say, if you can get after the quarterback and force him to do things he doesn't want to do, and I think, to me, I'm quarterback spying him. I'm keeping him in that pocket. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm forcing him to stay in that pocket so he doesn't get out and so he basically can't hurt you more, because it seems like when he gets out of that pocket, he can definitely do some things that can hurt a defense.
Well, that's where he can hurt you with his feet too. He's
Sure.
very, he's got all the skills.
Sure.
He's a multi-skilled quarterback. So, the matchup is fantastic. You got a great defense, solid running, monster running game going up against a team that is, I wouldn't say completely opposite, but, because both systems do play a semi-West Coast, they just change things up a little bit. So sort of the same, but, big thing coming at you for San Francisco is the fact that of the yak that these guys get. I mean, between Kittle and Samuels and Sanders, they can take a 4 or 5 yard pass and take it to the house, and so can the guys from Kansas City. So, Kittle smashing guys in the middle, smashing the inferior linebackers and some of the guys in the secondary for Kansas City. Man, you can see Kittle could possibly be the MVP of this game.
And I still wonder if Kansas City can stop that running game, because that offensive line is physical at the point of attack. They open up holes. It doesn't matter who's running, if it's Mostert, if it's Tevin Coleman, if it's
Brietta.
Yeah, if it's those, it's a three-headed monster. And look, I'm not ready to rule out Jimmy Garoppolo. I get what the game plan was. That's not to say Garoppolo can't win some games. He doesn't have to do it all on his own, and that's fine, because you want to be balanced as an offense. To me, that's what the NFL has always been about, no matter what anybody says. So if you can get that running game, then you open up that pass play action where you can hit some of those deep passes, or you can go across the middle to a Kittle.
Don't be surprised when San Francisco gets the ball in the first series, first play that they go play action and try to hit something for about 15, 20 yards to open up the field and open up that running game and really, really stick it to Kansas City. And the best defense sometimes is being the best offense and just running that clock and taking advantage. You got to score touchdowns against Kansas City. You can't have Robbie Gould be kicking field goals all day too. So look for that when San Francisco gets their opportunities. Are they getting 7 or are they getting 3?
Yeah, and again, I'm just curious to see what Nick Bosa, DeForest Buckner, Dee Ford being so motivated versus his former team. And Solomon Thomas, boy, they're going to be able to get after it. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. And if you don't like the Super Bowl, you got the commercials. Hopefully it's not disappointing. And I know there's no rock aspect, which once again, I don't understand what the NFL is doing. But you do have J-Lo and you also have Shakira at halftime in Miami. Can't get any better than that, right?
Well, it's a big problem with rock music these days. You got Guns N' Roses playing down there tonight, as a matter of fact, either tonight or tomorrow, but you can't have them, even share the stage with J-Lo and Shakira.
I mean, what is
Come on,
Jay?
man.
What is
I mean,
Jay?
that's just the biggest problem going right now, Pete, as far as rock music. It's not cross-promoted in any capacity whatsoever.
I agree. And, J-Lo, what has she done the last 5 to 10 years that's really relevant at this point besides make a movie about strippers? I'm just being honest. And then you have Shakira. When has she had a last hit? You have Guns N' Roses. If you're going to go back in the Wayback Machine, then bring out friggin' one of the greatest bands of all time in Guns N' Roses and Axl Rose. Hopefully he's sober, but if he's not sober, he'll still play good,
They're one of the largest selling bands still, not only from a music point, but from the tour that they've been on for the last 2 years has been monstrous. They're one of the biggest selling bands out there still. But, I can go into this whole thing with you, Pete, about, the Grammys and the American Music Awards and the stupid Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Rock music and metal are just a bunch of redheaded stepchilds in their eyes, and it's unfortunate. But, man, I tell you one thing. The fans are like a family out there. So I know it sounds silly, but just go to a festival where you got 45,000 people, fans jamming out to Disturbed, et cetera, et cetera. But wow, have we gone on a whole different tangent? Wham,
baby!
Actually, Pete, the Lightning are playing right now. Anaheim Mighty Ducks in Anaheim, and scores 2-2.
Nice, good stuff.
Thanks a lot for the update. Keep continuing that positive trend.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. I got an update for you, Pete. An update, baby. An update tonight on the Sports Web, on Bucks Report. Whatever. All these clowns all across the country listening and paying attention to Peter Blake do the Bucks Report and do it in style and do a great job.
Hey, man, thanks a lot. I appreciate you. Travis Fraley of Rocket Sports Entertainment, our Tampa Bay Lightning insider, and, of course,
I'm just getting fired up right now. I'm bringing the passion. I'm not bringing any nonsense. Peter Blake, Sports Web.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Travis Fraley. There you go. Good stuff.
You're welcome, sir. Have a great night.
Yep, you too. Hot takes from Travis Bailey. There you go. Good stuff. Real quick, score. Oh, he left. Just write it down here. I'm going to read these comments, and then we'll get back to it. It's been a fun-filled show. I mean, this is what it's about, right? This is what it's about on Friday night. All your comments, all your funny phone calls. You want to talk about Super Bowl commercials? We'll talk about it. You want to talk about the matchup, X's and O's, coaching. Jesus, we got Johnny Dean back. All right, welcome to the Sports Web. Johnny Dean, welcome back. Yes.
I just have two little points, two small points this time.
Small points.
First off, Travis is not a 4-man front. San Francisco runs a 5-man front. And all 5 of those are Pro Bowlers. Mm-hmm. They're elite at their spots. The one thing that might kill San Francisco is the speed of Kansas City. Right. Kansas City is lights out with speed.
Agree.
The quarterback, I'm not really worried about San Francisco not being able to contain Mahomes because they've already played the best mobile quarterbacks in the league already.
Yeah, no. I agree. And I'll tell you right now, Garoppolo, with everybody saying, and I think that is the most underrated factor in this game that nobody's looking at. Garoppolo has been able to throw the ball before and compete with the top quarterbacks in the league.
Absolutely.
Look back with Drew Brees in that New Orleans game. He threw throw for throw, actually played better than Brees in that game. And I believe they won that game versus the Saints, right?
Now, the one thing yes, they did. The one thing I do worry about here is the head coach,
right,
was the offensive coordinator for 28-3.
Agree. Did he learn from it? Did he learn?
That's the question mark.
Well,
that's the main question mark for me is the head coach. If he chokes, then the team's going to choke. So that's it.
All right.
That team is built. That team is built to beat Kansas City. That team is built like the Buccaneers were versus the Raiders. We had this discussion before. They're built just like the Buccaneers and this matchup is just like the Niners and Miami with Marino.
Well, I didn't get a chance to see that matchup. I heard about it, but I go back to always talking about the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning and all his offensive weapons and what he was putting up, and then you have the Seattle Seahawks who come in here with Russell Wilson.
That's not even close to what Marino was to. Patrick Mahomes is the closest thing that there's ever. Why do you think Marino got in the Hall of Fame without a title?
Right.
Marino was something special, just like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is something special. Believe that.
Oh, I agree. I definitely believe that.
But this Niners team is built just like the Bucs was for the Oakland Raiders. It's built just like that, man. It's built to take that out.
All right, good stuff, Johnny Dean. Thanks a lot for calling in, all right?
All right, later, bud.
Later. Oh, there you go. 3 calls for the night for Johnny Dean. We got Ben Cornett. We got Matt Colson. We got Travis Bailey. Where's the other guys at? 813-699-5353. 813-699-5353. All right, let's read more of these comments. I know I'm neglecting you webheads out there. I don't want to do that because you are my bread and butter. All right, average quarterbacks average 525 passing attempts per season. 625 is higher than any so far. Although they are pass heavy, his offense does run the ball when they can. The run game is lacking due to blocking and no real bell cow running back. As always, Johnny Dean, good stuff. I'm old. I'm going to die soon. I can't wait for Winston to see the light. Good stuff, Jay. Try skydiving. Get a running game, better secondary, 2 offensive linemen. We're Super Bowl contender. I like the way you think, especially with the Super Bowl being in your own backyard in Tampa. It's a big year. Make no mistake about it. The Glazers know it. Coach Arians knows it. Jason Light knows it. And every player on this team that's going to be involved with them going in 2020 knows it. All right, Johnny Dean, honestly, if you're going to try to limit Jameis turnovers, then you're going to have to adjust your quarterback strengths. Good coaches usually make adjustments in their schemes. Arians may have to do that with Jameis if he's still here. I doubt it, though. Secondary played nice the last 6 games. Good stuff, Chris. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Nassib needs to stay, 6.5 sacks, but again, he may price himself out with Anthony Nelson being drafted in the 4th round. They're similar players. The only thing is Nelson couldn't stay healthy last year. That's the point. I like Justin Evans to come back from injury and make improvements. Why Nelson is the heir apparent to that spot. They played against trash-ass defenses. Don't fall for that BS. Carlton Cook, I wouldn't go that far. We haven't been a playoff team in 12 years. You're correct in what you're saying. We need to put that to be against a playoff team. Super Bowls will take more than one playoff appearance. No to Jameis Winston. Nelson is still improving. Nassib is a solid starter. Winston drama is going to drag on until it's done. Whatever happens, it's up to the people in charge, but it's going to be fun. It is always fun here. Christopher, thanks a lot for tuning in as always. That's what I've been saying for years about Arians when he said he doesn't like to develop offensive linemen. To me, that is a mistake. That's one of the main positions to develop. Agree. Nassib is going to need to get paid. Development comes with playtime. Oh, well, look who wanted to join the party a little bit late. Mr. Party Animal himself, my co-host on the Sports Web, Best of the Bay columnist, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. What's on your mind, boss? And he's gone. He's absolutely gone. Call back. We'll get you back on there. I don't know if he dialed me on purpose or if he dialed on accident, but call back Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. Arians brought in development staff for the offensive line. Chris, give him 1 year deal. Let him develop. Nelson, a bad Olsen is much better than a good OJ. Seen that. Wow, just missed my comments here. Just want to make sure we get these comments. All of them. Okay. Let's see. Johnny Dean coaches usually follow their head coach's philosophies. Greg Olsen, no. All right. Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, are you there? He's not. Call back. Howard over Olsen. Peter, I'm glad to see you showed Nick the light. I'll take Braid over Olsen. We have two solid young tight ends who Arians doesn't use. Why go for Olsen? Well, maybe a better blocker. Kittle in the middle, but you got much back. Okay, Arians doesn't care about tight ends. The best tight end he had was Heath. And all right, let's try this again. Mr. Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, welcome to the Sports Web.
That was me that time. I was switching rooms and my phone was losing connection. So, here's the thing about it. Old JW3, old Jaboot, old number 3, old, best quarterback.
JW3, yes, old.
Old JW3.
26 years old.
We know, you and I, Pete, we know this from all of our interactions with all of our fans, all the fans of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and such. And we know there's either a love or a hate. It's almost like a 20-year marriage. It's a love-hate relationship. But here's the thing I want to keep working back to. Let's be serious about this. Let's just say, hypothetically, if the Bucs were even contemplating, because I don't think they're contemplating moving on. I think they realize that their bread is buttered with number 3 under center next year, and especially for our best hopes at, continuing to increase. I'm not even going to say getting to Super Bowl 55 here in Tampa Bay, but you know what? Fans can dream. But here's what I'm thinking. Even if, let's say, the Bucs have decided to move on, let's say Joe Burrow falls to him at number 14, which let's just get crazy. Jameis understands that there's a lot of teams out there that want his skill and they'd like to have that arm in their organization.
Sure.
But I don't see a team that's ready to pay him $30 million or give him a 5-year, $180 million contract with a $50 million bonus. Now, here's the caveat. I'm not saying he's not going to get that because we know the skill this kid's got and we know what he may be capable of.
Sure.
He has not yet shown his full potential. So if we take that off the table, if we put that on the table, the fact that I honestly don't think there's a team, there's not going to be a bidding war. So from that standpoint, I honestly believe, Peter, and this is what I'm calling, I want to ask your opinion. If Jameis is, and this is what I wanted to see, you and I were talking about this during week 2 this last season, that, doing our shows, doing our sports shows at first, and I was telling you, I just want to see a hat in hand kind of guy who's going to say, I know I can ball. I know I've had some indiscretions. I know 2016, even though it wasn't really what it seemed to be, I know I put myself in a situation in the back of that Uber. I know there's been a lot of stuff, but look at me. I've matured. I've got a kid. I'm married. Let me show you. I just want to see a kid that's going to say, give me that 1 or that 2-year contract that you're going to rip up the minute I make MVP next year or Pro Bowl or the minute we make the playoffs. Let me show you what I can do. That's what I want to see. And if that's the Jameis, if that's the JW3 that comes to the table, then he's here in Tampa Bay next year and he's our quarterback. He's our guy moving forward. If he honestly thinks there's a team out there that's going to give him that that what's the word? Who's the? Yeah, I can't even think now. The quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings that just got the big contract, former Redskins.
Kirk Cousins.
If he thinks he's going to get that Kirk Cousins plus deal right now off the bat, then more power to him. Maybe both sides are going to let him test the market. But let's not be crazy, guys. I know there's a lot of people out there that are just always going to hate Jameis because you know what? Hey, who's the most popular player on a team? The second string quarterback. This is an expression for 32 teams across the league. I get the reason why, but I honestly just want to see a Jameis Winston who's coming in here and wants to show us that he knows what he's capable of. He knows what Bruce Arians' system can do. I'm sorry to take up too much of your time. I love the show as always, Peter. But
no, buddy, you have as much time as you want. It's an absolutely interesting point for him to take a 1 or 2 year deal. I'm not ruling it out because everybody just assumes that, look, he wants a 5-year deal, $30 million. It's just a report. It has not been substantiated, Leo word, by anybody. It's just a report that's been thrown out there, and it could be a number that the agent has thrown out there. And now the Bucs come back. Like I said, it's like going in and buying a car. They're not dumb like me that goes in there and says, I want this car, and no matter what, I'm going to get it. Lower the price a little bit, but I'm paying that $27 over, and I'm going to pay that 25% interest on that 2009 car in 2013, and I'm going to be stuck with it for 6 years. They're negotiating here. So is it a possibility that they sign him to a $27 million deal for 1 year? Is it a possibility that you could sign a 2 or 3 year deal for less than $30 million? Absolutely. You can always make the numbers work with incentive clauses and stuff like that. That's why everybody says, it's black and white. He wants $30 million. He's going to go. It only takes one team that wants to match his price. And let's say the New England Patriots come calling. They may pay him less and he may go there because he understands it's a better opportunity for him with the Patriots to work with Belichick or another team that's right there more than the Bucs.
Right.
So that's the thing.
Well, let me ask you. Well, let me ask you this, Peter. So let's say we go restricted franchise tag or the transitional, not the transitional, but the restricted tag.
Sure.
It's not restricted tag, but so that if another team decides to go with a contract that we can't match, they're going to give us 2 first-round draft picks, which I honestly, as much as I know there are teams out there that would love to have Jameis, I do not see a team in the league of the other 31 teams that are going to give us 2 first-round picks and try to give us the chance to match an offer.
Yeah, I don't see that either. No, I don't see that. Right. I don't see 2 first-round picks. But that's not to say he's not a talented quarterback. I don't think there's a lot of teams out there that have 2 first-round picks. I mean, the Raiders would be, would the Raiders be a team? I mean, if John Gruden has discontent, Leo word for, and I'm using him a lot tonight. Derek Carr, miss Leo. Derek Carr, if he's not happy with Derek Carr, who's to say that Gruden wouldn't do it? I don't think it's going to happen, but I could see that as a potential destination for a player like a Jameis Winston because John Gruden sees it. He sees a 26-year-old quarterback who just threw for over 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Let's get out of the way. But also over 5,000 yards. There's only 8 players in league history that have done that under Gruden's tutelage. Maybe he feels like he can get that out of him. And it's just, it's a possibility, but it's been mentioned, the LA Chargers. Does that sell? Does that push the needle? More Tom Brady there than Jameis Winston, but it's a possibility because of all the Phillip Rivers.
Well, and because they're going into Hollywood Park next year along with the Rams. So, you want someone who's going to put seats in the butts in the seat. So, I mean, it almost, whether you're going to have a winning season or not, just literally to pay it Tom Brady $25 million. And now, but Tom Brady, I'm trying to think now, he is a California kid, isn't he? Before he went to Michigan, he's from California. So, I mean,
he's absolutely
that makes
California.
sense all the way around.
Makes lots of sense outside of his career. Yeah, I mean, maybe 1 or 2 more years, and we'll get to the Tom Brady cryptic tweet because there was an interesting response from a teammate. We'll get to that. But I got to ask you, buddy, I don't know what we're going to be doing on Super Bowl here. Super Bowl 54, the matchup, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. Who do you like and why?
Okay, so you've known, and our followers, all of our watchers of the Sports Web and the Bucs Report know since week 1 when the Niners beat the Bucs here and I saw what they were doing. I said this was the team that was going to be representing the NFC. And I'm not trying to – I'll go back and find the tape, everybody, but I said this was a team that would be the NFC representative. But I will tell you this. the over-under is what, 53. I see it, or 53, and whatever, maybe it's moved. The
I
line
think it's
moved since yesterday this morning, but
54 and a half or something
what
like
is it
that.
now?
Did it move?
Right.
I thought it was 54 and a half early, but it may have moved. Who knows? But it's around that
50,
right.
right. So 54 and a half. I see it being the under, and I see the Niners winning 27-24. But I'll give a little bit of a caveat
You've
here.
been listening to my show.
If it goes, what's that?
I said you've been listening to my show.
Well, I listen to you all the time, brother. But what I'm going to say, though, is that if it goes over 50, if it does the over, if the over bet wins, then I honestly think, obviously, that's when Andy Reid gets his first, Lombardi trophy, and Pat Mahomes go ahead and probably, I'm going to say at this point, but obviously the wild card for the 49ers is that I'll butcher his name, that fullback, John Lynch's 2019-2020 version of a Mike Allstott. Now, I don't mean to give any credence. This guy's not Mike Allstott, but there's so few teams these days have a true fullback. Is it Kovacek, or I can't even remember his name, honestly, but he will be the
Jaworski or something like. I don't know, man. What's called.
He's a monster. He's a monster, though. He'll be
hoss.
blocking on one play. He's blocking on one play, running a wheel route on the next play, and coming out of the backfield.
Yep.
And, that's something, honestly, that's something that Buccaneer fans will probably never see. Well, we didn't see it under Cotter. I don't know when's the last time we saw a true fullback here, and I don't think we'll ever see it under Bruce Arians. So, a guy can have love for another team. But yeah, I don't want to take up the entire time. But yeah, 27-24. I like the Niners over the Chiefs, and I want to say, I understand the Hall usually doesn't like to put two players in the same position, and I know that with Johnny Lynch general managing the Niners, they realize he's going to be topical and around for a few years, but I still think it's like a 40-60 that Johnny gets a knock on the door from David
Baker.
But anyway, David Baker, the CEO and the president of the Hall of Fame. I honestly think, because it's the centennial year, they're adding a bunch. They suspended rules this year. They're putting more players in there. You look at him versus Polamalu's numbers, and I get Troy Polamalu was a showstopper for the Steelers, but what John Lynch meant to the Tampa 3, the third part, the back end, Sapp, Brooks, then Johnny Lynch. If you want to pay true credence to what Tony Dungy put together with Tampa 2 here in Tampa Bay, you don't have the Tampa 2 without Johnny Lynch playing that backside position. And his numbers speak for themselves. He should get the knock on Saturday. That remains to be seen, brother.
Absolutely. And of course, I believe David Baker is the father of Sam Baker. I think Sam used to play in the NFL or was a commissioner of the Arena League. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I actually think David Baker.
Well, he is, but I'll tell you what, the guy's like 6'9", 400 pounds. I mean, but you know what? I don't know if you've mentioned it already. I'll be honest. I was writing an article. I'm going to put up on Buck Sport tomorrow, but shout out to the Big Nasty. Shout out to Keith Kunzig, getting that Hall of Fame, that Ford Hall of Fame member. He's going to be at the Super Bowl. He's got the 2 tickets, but he will be there again representing. And, anything Tampa Bay Buccaneers is us, and anything else we love. So, yeah, congratulations to Keith and on getting that Hall of Fame for, the fan of the Hall of Fame for fans. He deserves it. He earned it. He's a great guy, and we're glad to hear about it.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay, writes some great articles here on Bucks Report. Did a fantastic job on that 1999, the 2-part series. I've been reading it. I'm going to go ahead and read it again. And buddy, I miss you. So we got to get together sometime. And, I think we may be getting together here pretty soon. We'll just keep that under wraps at this point. But
always, brother.
Yeah, buddy.
Always.
It's always good to talk to you, man. Don't be a stranger. And hey, if Johnny Lynch gets in on Saturday, we'll try to have a show on Saturday night here talking about Johnny Lynch and maybe Shaq Barrett too. So we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed. All right, boss?
Brother, love you as always. Take care, Peter.
Love you too, man. There you go. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. He's one of the best in the business. I don't care what anybody says. Great writer, great man, great father. Right? 813-699-5353, 813-699-5353. Let's go back out to the web heads here. And where were we at here? Because it's wow, there's so many comments tonight. And like I said, I'm so sorry that we haven't gotten to everybody. So let's see. Okay, we read that. We read all that stuff. Let's see. Where are we at here? Okay, I think we're here. Okay, we read that one. Jeez. Okay, now we're here. Travis Haley says hello. He was here before. Johnny loves his offensive lineman. Peter, so back off. What's going on, Jose? Hopefully you're still on. If not, thanks a lot for tuning in. Jameis has made Evans and Godwin better. Yeah, okay. I think they both made each other good, right? Evans and Godwin are top 10 wide receivers, but Jameis definitely makes those wide receivers good. How many yards did Perryman have? I'm telling you right now, he was very productive when Evans and Godwin went out. He improved overall when he got comfortable in that system. Don't have the exact figure on the yards. Are we talking Super Bowl tonight or 4-string Bucks corners? Of course, we're talking about what you want to talk about. Loudest, stop glossing. Read that already. Respect Johnny. This Kobe tribute is good. I bet it is. I'll have to watch it later on. Need a few walking the monkey badger. Geez, 6:45. I'm pretty stoked for the Pens Caps game. Very cool. Now, Matt and Johnny would be a good debate. He probably thinks Rose should be in the Hall also. I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't want to necessarily talk baseball, but I do believe he belongs in the Hall of Fame over guys like Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Roger Clemens. Sorry, just I do. Carlton Cook, that was for 3 games. He did that in 5 games. He needed Jameis. Sorry, not 3 games. Last season stats, so most of the production was in 3 games. He was bait. Even a box of chocolates. Kappa. If healthy, Kappa can just be like Marpet. He was getting that way. He was definitely was dominating at times. He improved that offensive line. We knew he would. You running game is trash. Okay. Both. Please give up on Howard. Please. Of course, you would want him with the Bears. Why and for what? Exactly. That's the one thing here. Why and for what? Let's see. OJ was okay. The scheme changed. OJ before Arians was a top 10. Now we are giving him cause of what? OJ let a linebacker go by him twice without attempting to block. That would be rough to give up another first-round pick. Absolutely. That sets your franchise back. We need to run away from light. George Kittle was drafted in the 5th round, and a first-round pick was wasted on O.J. Howard. That's good old Tampa Bay overpaying again. Deontay Moore, once again, one of my favorite texters here on the Sports Web. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Light has done okay with Arians' help. Nah. They were 3rd in scoring. If your quarterback doesn't give up the ball, you win more games. The problem is easy. And also, if your kicker can kick kicks and your defense can play better. In the Seattle game, you have a top-notch quarterback playing against Russell Wilson, and it's not your offense, it's your defense that let you down in that game. 6 years, bro. $2 streetwalkers, you're downgraded. Okay. Carlton, the GM, works with the coach in drafting. As much blame goes to the former coaches as goes to Light. His job is to get the guys the coaches feel will work with the scheme. All right. Check the sheet. What a joke. Mahomes walk into a nice situation. That would be Mahomes. Ben Cornett, your title is in trouble. Travis Haley is working on the King Troll tonight. Here comes the apologist. Johnny Dean, I'll let Owen Wilson be Troll King tonight. Listen, bro, Light has had 3 different coaches. All of them are trash. I'm not ready to say they're trash. Not Arians. Pat Mahomes got drafted to a way better organization with a Hall of Fame coach. That's a silly comparison. Peter Winston, Deontay Moore, give Peter a call. 2-time coach of the year, trash. Yes, the 2 previous were. I'm not sure about the Lovey because he never got a scheme installed, but he did destroy the offensive line along with getting rid of a great defensive player in Revis. Peter H. Blake, tell him about the running game for the Chiefs for the last 5 years. Well, they had Kareem Hunt, right? When he was healthy, he was pretty good for them. Took the pressure off Mahomes. But it's a better system. It's been a better team built around him. If you guys missed the Kobe Bryant Memorial by the Lakers at the Staples Center, you need to find it on the internet. Watch it. Kudos to the Lakers for putting that together before the game. Philip Swagler, I was watching that. Awesome tribute. Thanks for the shout out. Absolutely, Roger Shue. Sure was, man. He had some I had some tears there for a bit. Davin Joseph, last first round pick as an offensive lineman. Johnny Dean bringing heat. Philip Schwegler still feels unreal to me, to be honest. God bless his family and all the families of the victims. It's unbelievable. It's been an unbelievable week. You have Super Bowl week and you have Kobe Bryant's tragedy. It's terrible. You know, somebody that young, 41 years old. I'm 41. Maybe it doesn't seem like it's young. It's too young. And then his 13-year-old daughter and everybody else that was, you know, coaches and players. Just a traumatic, tragic situation. Disappointing. Laugh out loud. Many of our players have left and went on to win championships. Revis, Bennett, Blunt, and Talib. Yep. Disappointing. In the building, let him out. Someone fired Johnny up. That house was messed up anyway. Thank you. Gruden sold the farm for that title that he did. Light has failed through free agency and the draft. Not ready to say all that yet, Carlton. I know how you feel about him, but he has had some hits, namely Shaq Barrett trading for JPP, Vita Vea. You look at the secondary, how they progressed. Godwin, Evans. I mean, he has talent. Ali Marpet, Donovan Smith has been solid. He's not the greatest, but he's solid. Doesn't miss games with injury, besides maybe a couple last year. I turned the channel after I seen the dog food in the beginning. Consistently, 49ers 34-31 over the Chiefs. San Francisco can't match up with that speed. We shall see. 31-27 49ers. No way Travis Freely judging me in football. I need a judge with 50 years of experience or someone like Pat Yasenskas as a judge for the debate. Fair enough. What do you guys think of Becton in the first? I like it. 6'8", 6'9", 370, but can move. He's got good footwork, right? He's got very good footwork, strong at the point of the attack, and he could be one of those players that instead of going from late first, which it was originally thought, to mid first, now he could be going up into the top 10. You hope he doesn't do too well in the combine because you would like to see him down at 14. Bucks need to take him run to the podium. Travis is calling, so that will fire up Mr. Dean. They're about to get whipped by Anaheim if they're not careful, says Ethan. This ain't Ben Cornette, it's Don King, the instigator. Deontay Moore, good stuff. Go Vipers. I will be following. Good stuff. Let's see. Front five, Travis Bailey. Johnny Dean. Lovey was awful. He was too bullheaded and old school. Lovey would continuously beat a dead horse. It's like, this ain't working, so let's try it again. Agree. Sherman trying to keep up with Tyreek. I know what you're saying, Carlton. Are comments disabled? No one is commenting on anything, really. I am commenting right now. We're trying to take phone calls and do this, so it's a little bit difficult. Deontay Morley, only in America. Good job, Mr. Ben Cornette. Kittle is brittle. Watch out. Kittle is a beast. 100% agree. Okay, if they don't have Gloria Estefan make a cameo appearance and sing the conga during the halftime show, then it's not going to be a good halftime show. Could definitely see the Miami Sound Machine at halftime. You definitely got to take advantage of it. Much like the NFL's dropping of the ball of not having Metallica in San Francisco or Outkast in Atlanta. You can get Big Boy, but you can't get Andre 3000? Come on, man. Travis Scott. Get the hell out. He's a beast, but he has a track record of a little brittle, bro. William Romer, 100% agree. All right, let's get more comments here. Kyle blew it again. 28-3. Damn phone died. Miss anything good? Call Deontay. Very funny. Let's see. Ray Kennedy's calling in, or he already did. Ray is drunk dialing. Ray Kennedy, butt dial king. Very funny. Deontay, I'm going to call Tuesday after Alkett comes on. That's when the sports web gets fired up the most. Like it? Deontay Moore holding you to that. Wait, doesn't get fired up unless Al is on. Deontay Moore, I'm hurt. Chris says Pats would pay him. They would. Pats offense is all checked down. Why would they take Jameis? Well, because he's a 26-year-old quarterback that Bill Belichick feels like he could develop. That's why. No, I'm saying that's when it gets fired up the most. Johnny Dean, he knows Al takes an hour to talk, so it gives Deontay more of an out. I know, Pete. I mean, Deontay's scheme. Will you shut up, Ben Cornette? Damn troll. Who's better on the free agent market? They take him, mold him the Belichick way, and boom, we lost again. Like LeGarrette Blount and Keeb Talib and Darrelle Revis and Michael Bennett and Steve Young and Trent Dilfer and players that just go to other places and win championships. I'm just tired of it. I really am. I'm just tired of seeing it. Ben Cornette, 100%. Anytime I see Winston throw a pick, I think about Charlie Murphy talking about habitual line stepping. Good stuff, Ethan. Is Bruce still the play caller? No, that would be, again, Byron Leftwich. Johnny Dean says no, then we're screwed. Should have never let Quan go. Yes, you should have. Quan has not made an impact for the San Francisco 49ers, but could he win a Super Bowl with the 49ers? Absolutely. Has he had that much of a big impact as Devin White? Absolutely not. They made the right call on that. Not paying $14 million or $16 million, whatever the 49ers overpaid for him, and he was still hurt this year. So they did the right thing. Bucks fam, it's good to see you back in the swing, bro. Been missing you. Let's see. I'm not going to pronounce that word. Everyone wants to drag on Jameis, but Arians light Leftwich pulled the wool over the whole franchise. Not ready to say that yet. I mean, how so? Carlton still rehabbing, long process, speech issues. Sorry to hear that, Carlton. Hope you get better, my friend. Massive stroke. Jeez. I'm a wee bit buzzed, but the dial was intentional. Not you, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. I'm glad Ray mentioned Keith Kunzig. Congrats to him for that fan Hall of Fame nod. Yep, big Nazi. Congratulations here on the Sports Web from yours truly, Peter Blake. All right, Johnny Dean, go ahead.
Last time, dude, it's Kyle Juszczyk. Remember that name because he's going to be a Hall of Fame fullback.
Okay, Kyle Juszczyk. All right, anything else?
There you go, buddy.
All right.
That's it.
Good night, buddy. There you go. Johnny Dean with his fourth call. That's awesome. I like Johnny Dean. He's awesome. Every aspect of our side of the old line has improved drastically. This team has the best run defense in the league. The secondary finished fifth in the league, and the offense was third. Arians is a two-time coach of the year. If these guys aren't the answer, bro, then really there is none. Good stuff. As always, Carlton Cook, keep fighting the good fight. Yes, Carlton Cook, prayers out to you, my friend. Get better, and we always love to have you here on the Sports Web, man. Bucks Report family. We love you, guy. Let's see. 3-2 Bolts now. What's your damn prediction? I haven't given that yet. I'm not ready to give it yet. We'll get to, again, the Peter King comments of Tom Brady. I agree 100% with Travis there. And let's see. Big Bad Pete. That would be Mr. Blake Anthony, Buck and Blake Sports. Blake and Blake Sports. Let's go out to Peter King. I told you I would read the comments, and somebody said, you're spoiling these guys. But this is what the interaction, the evolution of Sports Talk Television is about, interacting with you guys. All right, sound clip here from WEEI. I'm trying to think here. Peter King was on the other day talking about Tom Brady and how it relates to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Enjoy.
Dale, the one that I believe is kind of the sleeping giant in this is Tampa Bay. And when I say that, if Jameis Winston is realistic with what his contract demands / requests, whatever are, in my opinion, he'll be the quarterback of the Bucs next year. But I don't know that I don't know that. I'm hearing some things out of Tampa that he might be he might want, and his agents might want a little bit more money than the Bucs want to pay. And we'll see if that pans out. We'll definitely see. But I mean, here's the reason why. I mean, look, they got a pretty good offensive line, and they've got two excellent receivers. They've got a really good young tight end, and they've got a very imaginative head coach and offensive coordinator in the passing game. So I can't tell you absolutely what they would do or what they're going to do, but I can tell you that they're fascinating to me because I think Bruce Arians not coaching forever. And I think that he's one of those guys who all quarterbacks say, man, it'd be cool to work for Bruce Arians because he's such a fun offensive mind. And I mean, we're talking about Tom Brady, and we're talking about a guy who obviously, once he comes to your team, does so much for it, including sells tickets like no other person in this free agent market is going to be. So I guess I look at it and say, when I think of Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, it makes as much sense to me as any of these other teams out here, with the possible exception of the Chargers.
All right, so there you go. That was Peter King from NBC Sports on the Dale and Keefe show, WEEI, in Boston. So what do you think? I've given my analysis on this. First and foremost, King says the Bucs have a great offensive line or a good offensive line. They don't. So that's definitely a bad factor in that. You got to improve the offensive line. He's 42, 43 years old, going to be 43 coming into 2020. Does he work in this offense with his arm? Not in my opinion. He does not. He's not able to throw the deep ball anymore. Plus, you're going to have to protect him. If you put Brady behind this line right now, he's going to get killed. On top of it, are you going to pay him as much as $30 million as you would pay a younger option and Jameis Winston, who actually knows your offense? That's what I'm looking at this point. Tom Brady's taken less money to stay with the Patriots. You don't actually think he's going to go on the free agency market and seek a big-time contract? I've got oceanfront property in Arizona that says otherwise. And if you believe that, you know that that's not true. He's going to ask for a lot of money. So I don't know if that option is definitely out there. But once again, 2020 free agency, the quarterback frenzy will just be crazy. And of course, the Patriots will have until March 18th, as they've given Brady an ultimatum before that. So we'll see how this transpires and works out. 813-699-5353, 813-699-5353. So there was a cryptic tweet the other night or last night from Brady tweeting out a picture of him black and white. Looks like he's walking out of Gillette Stadium through a tunnel, and it's black and white. And people assume, well, is this him saying he's retired? Is he done? Is he coming back? And according to Devin McCourty, they had a FaceTime chat. And basically, in the words of McCourty, we're like, bro, we're at the Super Bowl. I mean, these are his words. Why would you do this? And he was like, everybody's overreacting. He's like, it's not, I'm going to stay, or if I'm going to go. He was like, bro, I'm 42 years old. One of the oldest guys in the league. I wanted to remind people that the best photos are in black and white. That's all it was, bro. And they said, bro, I swear to God, black and white. It's classic. Like, I'm the classic Tom Brady, black and white. Put it all together, and I'm still out here doing it. So people, you overreact over nothing. And I'm guilty of it. You always connect the dots. You see little signals on Twitter, and it's really nothing. It was really nothing at all. It's just Tom Brady liking a picture, wanting to be black and white, letting everybody know, hey, I'm 42 years old. I'm still doing it. Is he doing it at a high level? I don't think so. Do you think he's doing it at a high level? Do you think he's an improvement over Jameis Winston? I mean, his resume says something different, but he's not going to play at that level, right? You're going to have a running game. You're going to have your defense play as good as they did the last 6 to 7 games of the season. You're going to have an offensive line protect him, and you're going to have to pay him the money. Is he going to sell tickets? Oh, I knew I'd get him to call. All right, Johnny Dean, I knew I'd fire you up. Go ahead.
Joe, you're not firing me up. I just have to clarify something. That soundbite from Peter King actually came from the Dan Patrick Show. I watched the full interview. And
well, I don't know what happened there, Johnny Dean. I didn't hang up on you, I swear to God. But if it did come from the Dan Patrick Show, I got a wrong click, but I went to the website and clicked on it. So that's what it said. So if it's from the Dan Patrick Show, wherever it's from, that's Peter King of NBC Sports. Johnny Dean, call back, and we'll definitely get you back on. But a lot of people throwing that out there. Would you want Tom Brady? I don't think he fits this offense. I mean, is he one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? Maybe the greatest quarterback of all time besides Joe Montana? Yeah. Can he still play at that high level? Interesting. All right, Johnny Dean, go ahead. You got cut off.
One more time. Let's see. I had to step out in the hallway to get away from the show. But anyhow, could you turn that down? Hold on just a second, please. Let me turn this down.
It's all right, man.
Okay, that soundbite there was a full interview on Dan Patrick Show with Peter King. Peter King was sitting there. I watched the entire interview, and he was clarifying. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm listening to you, bud.
Okay, he was clarifying that he first off he prefaced that entire interview with, "I believe that Jameis Winston will be in a Bucs uniform under center for the Bucs next season." He was like 97% sure of it.
Wow.
He said, but they kept pushing him about where Brady would fit the best, and that's where that soundbite came from.
Okay. Well, I mean, some of it makes sense. I mean, I don't like the offensive line. Well, the offensive line is good. No, it's not. I know what you're saying. It's 7th ranked, but giving up that many sacks last year.
Well, I believe with Kappa healthy and you put him up there, that pocket was solid for Jameis last year.
Oh, of course it was. But you look at that game versus the Panthers when you don't have a Kappa and you have the likes of Earl Watford and Josh Wells on that right side.
Exactly.
He got killed.
That's where most of the sacks and hits come from.
It was one of his worst games. It's 7 sacks. There was a correlation of 5 turnovers.
Yep.
I mean, nobody talks about it. But again, I'm going to continue to talk about it. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to clarify that soundbite because I don't know who you said it came from, but the original soundbite came from that interview with Dan Patrick.
All right. Thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right, bud.
There you
Bye.
go. All right. So what do you guys think? 813-699-5353, 813-699-5353. Correction from Pat Yasinskis himself. Sam Baker was an offensive tackle of the Atlanta Falcons. David Baker, I believe, was the commissioner of the Arena League at one point. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Let's go out to the webheads, and I think we'll end it for the night. I'll give you my prediction here on the Sports Web. If you didn't listen to the Charles Richardson show, I did give it there. Didn't want to, but he forced me into it, so I gave it. But I'll give it again here. Let's see. Let's get back to the comments. Peter, you fell for Travis Faley's prank. You just said you agree with him. I did. I agree with Travis Faley. Not all the time, but some of the time. Should we consider Mariota? Why? Why Mariota? Why is everybody in love? And even Trent Dilfer mentioned this the other day about Mariota. He's like, you end up with somebody like Mariota. What did Mariota do with the Tennessee Titans with a better offensive line and a running game with him and a better defense? Nothing. Why would you want Mariota in this offense? Do you think he can throw the ball deep? You've got to have a quarterback that can throw the ball deep. Mariota can't throw deep. He's an RPO guy. He's going to throw those short and intermediate passes. And he's not very accurate. And he's had his interception problems too. And also, he can't stay healthy. So no, absolutely not on Mariota. Peter King is mad. Good stuff, Carlton. No. That's where he hides the bodies. What's he watching? I don't know what you guys are watching right now. I watched the full interview. Peter King actually said he believes Winston will be a Buck next year. That soundbite was actually from Dan Patrick's show. It wasn't distributed in full context. My apologies. All right. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Marion for the what? Kicker? Brady was mediocre last season. No way we take him over Winston. And by the way, he ended his playoffs with a pick 6 versus the Titans. Turn it down, Johnny. Johnny is talking. Please get predictions so I can win by betting against you. I hate you, Travis. Pete, the Magic Man. Thank you very much, Blake. Super Bowl 41-20 Chiefs. Good stuff. Phillip Rivers just moved to Florida. Arians likes the older veterans a la Carson Palmer. Winston is out. Rivers is in. You like that, Jason? 38 years old, threw 20 interceptions last year. You're going to pay him some money. Do you like it? It's possible. I don't like it. You know how I feel about it. But we'll see. Could be right. So would Brady under our offense? I don't think Brady would be good in this offense. Whether he has the wide receivers or not, can't throw deep. Plus, he can't protect him. Not with the way the offensive line is constructed right now. No way. All right. Your house in Arizona. Shut up. Frozen Peter, anyone? Yes, that was frozen. All right. Once again, thank you for the response tonight on this Friday night. You could have better things to do, going out to bars, drinking, but yet you tune in here on the Sports Web. It means a lot to me. So with that being said, my Super Bowl 54 prediction is this. The most underrated aspect of this game is Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo is going to be able to score points because of the running game and because of the outside weapons. I don't think Kansas City necessarily has a great defense. On top of it, I like what the San Francisco 49ers can do against the Kansas City offense. I believe they can shut them down. That matchup you have to look for, once again, is the San Francisco defensive line versus Kansas City's offensive line. I believe they'll be able to contain Mahomes. And you know what? They're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs 27-24. Kyle Shanahan finally gets that Super Bowl, and it's on the strength of a defense. Anytime it's number one offense versus number one defense, defense wins championships. Offense sells tickets, gets the girls maybe, but defense wins championships. So on that note, San Francisco 27-24 live on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Like I said, if there's a Hall of Fame announcement tomorrow or Shaq Barrett wins an award, I will have a special edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Have a great night. You're now in the Sports Web, a sports talk show for the hardcore fan. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense.
At Life's a Beach Realty, we're all about life on the beach. Stunning Panama City Beach and one of the most beautiful properties on the Gulf Coast. Shores of Panama. Radiant, elegant, and spectacular. Steps away from white sugar sand, every room overlooks the turquoise of the Gulf of Mexico. Come in for your tour today. Life's a Beach Realty is your gateway to Shores of Panama, the shores, and a whole lot more.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
My dad had a heart attack at 56 years old. He passed away at 63, and his main problem was high cholesterol. That was the main problem. And I've thought about that. I'd try anything to lower my cholesterol, to stop the chances of having a heart attack.
When I retired, I really had to be conscious about what I put into my body. Interestingly, I was also told I should probably take a statin. And I've always resisted medication like that because it feels unnatural to me. And so when I heard about this product that can naturally lower my cholesterol, lower my risk of heart disease and other types of conditions that come from having high cholesterol, I jumped on it. Has a lot of fiber in this, so it keeps you regular. It makes you feel good. And actually, interesting, it tastes good. You know, sometimes you see these things and you wonder what it's going to taste like. This one actually tastes really good. In fact, my kids even like having.
Here's a sobering reminder. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death for men and women. No wonder staying heart healthy is so very important these days. And we're learning that a few healthy choices can help prevent heart disease. Enter the inventor of Gatorade, Dr. J. Robert Cade. No secret what Cade and Gatorade did for thirst and performance. And Dr. Cade's Cholesterade is so much more than a thirst quencher. Cholesterade is a refreshing, high-fiber natural drink that could dramatically lower cholesterol and reduce the risk of heart disease. In fact, Cholesterol has twice the fiber of any other product on the market today. Independent studies show that 2 daily servings of cholesterol can stunningly lower bad cholesterol by up to 20%. Dr. K knew firsthand the troubles of high cholesterol and adverse side effects of cholesterol-lowering prescription medications, also known as statins. Dr. K knew that a daily increase in fiber could lower the levels of cholesterol, so Dr. K invented Cholesterol as much for himself as anybody. Cholesterol is a powder that is mixed with water or juice. Cholesterol is all natural, no preservatives, gluten-free, and probiotic with natural flavors. Studies have shown lower cholesterol numbers without the use of prescription medication. Cholesterol helps all people looking to add fiber to their diet. Cholesterol, combined with a healthy diet and exercise, can help you get your cholesterol under control. Entertainer Rod Adams personally knows the benefits of cholesterol.
Hey, my name is Ron Adams. You may know me as an entertainer from maybe one of my shows, like my eldest show. But I'm also a 55-year-old guy that needs to stay in shape. I realized that my cholesterol was getting way out of hand. I went to the doctor and he said, you need to do something. But there wasn't anything to do other than maybe get on a statin, which I already knew was dangerous. And then I found out about cholesterol. Started taking it 3 times a day. 8 weeks later, my cholesterol dropped dramatically from over 300 to under 200. The good cholesterol went from 18 to 36. Cholesterol is what's keeping me healthy.
Independent studies have shown that cholesterol users have seen their bad cholesterol drop by more than 21%. Triglycerides drop by some 50%. And good cholesterol improve by nearly 13%. Cholesterol supports digestive health. It has 3 great tasting flavors and has become the future in the fight for lowering bad cholesterol. You can find Cholesterol by ordering at www.cholesterol.com. You can find it on Amazon and at major retailers nationwide.